laptop.
Go get her.
Okay, Lauren, tell me when we're,
I took that to work, so I don't have a laptop. I know. So I gotta rely on this thing again. Turn this off.
okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the City of Alpharetta's Design Review Board workshop session this morning. Today is Friday, September 17th, 2021. So during the workshop, we're going to go through our applications that we'll hear starting at 9 o'clock during our public hearing. But we just go through our applications this morning to make sure during our workshop that we have all the information available and any questions that we may be asking staff. So our first applicant this morning is going to be Taffer's Tavern, and they're doing some signage on their building. We had seen their application last month, but they did not show up for the public hearing, so let's hope they show up this morning. All right, Brett, you're going to walk us through get to the, oh, you're going to start with Cooler, not Taffer's, okay. We'll skip over Taffer's, that's very good.
That's straight.
All right, so much for Taffer's, then the Cooler. Looks like some, I'll do the same thing on my laptop.
Here's the landscape plan that they sent in for just the street side of the building.
I haven't used this forever.
Give you the renderings here. Renderings are a little bit,
Well, those are dark. There's some lighter ones.
there's some lighter ones, yeah. This one gives a decent view. So the front entrance is down over here, and they're adding this portion. And if you've been by there lately, there's some steel already standing. They got started just a little bit ahead of time.
So they have a permit?
They do.
How did they get a permit?
Well, it was an interior and it mixed to an exterior, and then when they started that's when I saw the application, and then we got them posted on that for now. So this is the portion that's getting started, so.
So Brett, do you know, what is the purpose of this structure?
It's a studio of some sort. I believe it to be, I think it's a music studio, I maybe heard. I'm not positive, but I know it's a tenant for the cooler.
Okay. A tenant, all right. Just trying to figure out how it complements what's there and how it fits in with the existing
Yeah, it's tough.
building.
I asked them to work on these legs. It just looked a little, I don't know, a little, needed something.
So just that little windowed area is the studio, kind of small.
I don't know if there's some interior, parts of the thing as well, but this is this is the only thing that's exterior for them.
What's a little deceiving too is in that rendering, the existing concrete block that is to the left of the balcony it's banded. It's got bands, colored bands in it. It's
Yeah,
not
it
all,
doesn't appear as what they're showing here.
no, it's not all one solid block color.
Maybe they're gonna change that, I don't know.
Okay. All right, so we got landscaping along the West Side
This
Parkway, which is,
landscaping out here, yes.
So all that other work they came in is gone. Remember when we heard this a year or two
I don't know
ago?
that it's gone, but it's not been
done.
It's not been started.
so, there's an upper walk along the building. I can see it.
All right, moving on to the multifamily.
Brett, am I allowed to participate?
Well, we've We've heard 3 or 4 times on
Yes,
this.
I
Have you
did.
been to any of them?
You were,
Been?
I feel like that, like I was here for the first one, and I wasn't allowed to, I had to go sit at it.
Time out.
They're like, they all start running together.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, was last month the first time looking at the this
No.
part of the residential? Okay.
this
So-
is,
Yes.
this is the third time, I believe, or second or third.
On this particular phase? Okay.
So Holly and Frank were both present on the day that it was originally presented, including the multifamily buildings, so you guys are able to participate. Yes.
Okay,
No
good.
timeout for you.
No timeout.
Because essentially, last month, the multifamily building was deferred anyways, so you guys are good to participate. Yep.
So if we remember from last month, one of the, the elevations that were shown at city council, clearly not what they're showing us either, but they're evolving over time, and they got a little too far away last month, and I think they felt that as well. So this is the result of those, and staff feels it's very nice, very appropriate. Got back to a feature kind of the corner of what what they showed city council.
And will you be able to pull up the city council renderings too to cross-compare?
I think I did that one.
Maybe
Did you do that last time?
I think I did. I gotta figure out where I found.
we'll
where I had
we'll
it.
try to find it for during there.
Okay.
Some of the big elements were recessed patios. That was one of the big things on the city council. It was a little more full glass, there was more.
Last version was, yeah.
Yeah, the city council version was all glass, basically. And as it evolved, with different living spaces and things like that, it's come down to this. But, last month they had this area was a different colored material. I think made it really stand out. So they've recessed it now. I don't think it was recessed last month. So I think it's pretty good.
Okay, and that's all we're gonna look at, right, on Lakeview?
Yeah, this is all we're looking at on Lakeview. So then this is the other end of the new street. So down here would be Haynesbridge. I'm pretty sure. It's hard to tell in these renderings, but I think Haynesbridge would be down there. So this is that other corner with all the retail under here. And then back here is the Alpha Loop. So this leads to the townhomes and then down to the office building and the big pond and amphitheater thing down there.
And so Brett, all we're looking at is exterior elevations and materials today, correct?
Yes, yeah,
Because-
we approved the materials, and I don't think they've changed any materials as far as a different, color or material itself, but I think they've moved them around a little bit. Okay, any questions on that one? And then we'll go to these updated drawings. So this is Chris Sedgwick's new proposed garage. So this is the site plan. So this building here is pure taqueria. This is the little corner building out there that, if you saw in the news the other day, took a little blow to the patio.
Jeez, yeah.
This is TBB 122 that we looked at a couple months ago, right there. So in the back of this property here and adjoining will be this new garage. Some inspiration pictures. And then just, these are interior layout. So first floor, second floor, third, rooftop. The elevations are a little bit it's a little hard to follow because of the shape of the building. So this is the first elevation, and we may have to get this corrected when they come up, but I think this is the first elevation.
Which is the one on the
Here.
right, yeah.
Elevation number 2, yeah.
And then this elevation, this east elevation, is this. Just this.
Is this addressed downtown core? It looks like it's, I couldn't tell from the map. It looks like it's right on
It's
the
in,
edge.
it's not in the core. Well, wait, no,
It looks
no,
like
it's not.
Looks like it's
in the-
just
It's
on,
in the overlay, but
in
it's
the
not in the,
overlay. but
it's not in the core.
Not in the
Yeah.
core, okay.
Then west and rear, so this elevation would back up to
EA,
EA Homes or whatever, Empire, I think it's Empire Homes now, to their, kind of beside theirs, because they're, if we look back at the site plan, their building would sit kind of here, so it's kind of the corner and then kind of in between buildings, actually.
So is that the view you would see from, yeah,
This is what you would see from
Each
EA and from, if you, yeah, with,
Parking lot.
between the buildings and through the landscape buffers there. There's, I think there's a 10-foot landscape buffer on each side of those property lines.
and this building's supposed to replicate or be of the mercantile style.
I think that's what they're going for, at least the
images show.
images that they presented would be the mercantile, yes. These are nice images here. I like the way they did these. This gives a nicer view, I think, and understanding it versus the flat, flat elevation. So this would face the TBB 122. This faces Roswell Street.
So we go out of our way with parking garages to not see cars, right?
Yes, we do.
We design them. This is like a car display, right?
Yeah, completely different thought process.
Yeah, yeah.
However, what we generally try to do in the parking garages is because you're dealing with headlights that are on and off and different things like that and stuff. So since this is not one that will be an in and out all the time, or at least it appears it wouldn't be, you know, that,
It just seems like if it had some horizontal elements that would
Right, I agree.
partially obscure the cars at least, so
I agree with you, and plus it will more reinforce the mercantile
it
style.
would reinforce the style.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are those, the part where the stairway is going, are those just fake windows, or they couldn't really tell?
This one, these do look like they're, but in the floor plans, I think they call these closets, so they may be faux. I think it's nice if they are, either way, I think if they are faux, I think it's a nice,
Is it like brick or just? Yep.
Roger, it says bricked-in opening on one of the.
oh, there it is, yeah, bricked in openings.
But the other three, are they actual windows?
I would say this is a door, and I would say these three are windows for sure.
So I would suggest making those windows kind of like where the cars are parked with some mullions or something like that to tie it in. But,
These,
yeah.
some interior shots. Okay,
So that part, the gray part, what was that made out of?
The great,
well, some of it is
Right there.
brick,
Cement?
no.
and
Fiber
these are
that
flat
wasn't- that
cementous
wasn't-
panels.
That wasn't brick that you just circled back there.
It says brick siding.
Well, look.
We'll go down, this
No,
is
go down,
fiber
it's,
cement.
Oh.
That,
right,
Fiber
to-
cement.
painted to reveal,
That-
to,
I'm gonna guess that that didn't get changed. Would be, well, we can ask, but it sure seems like,
It makes it look like it's brick, but
yeah,
yeah, but it's the fiber cement panel color.
because it's this same detail, same one here, so, yeah, we'll see. It does say fiber cement, though. All right.
Okay, so we, for this one, Brett, are we approving the site plan?
Yeah, you'll need to do site plan.
Okay, they're doing landscaping?
There is landscaping. I got it yesterday, so I'll put that up when it comes up.
Okay, so-
It's minimal. There's not a lot of spots there, but
Okay, and then we got site plan, we got extra elevations and materials, and then do we have signage?
they show them.
it shows signage there, but I don't think there's enough detail to do that. So I'll get them our new downtown sign thing. I think it's probably close, just in the description that he has of it.
I'm assuming there's no.
One of the places I saw it said painted metal, so I'll give him that.
Okay,
And no exterior lighting that I can see.
I thought there was a couple fixtures
On the building, but
shown,
not-
but I didn't see
call-outs?
any in the plan. Yeah, I don't, yeah. Okay.
okay. So that's, SEDG Investments. All right, next up, food terminal.
Food Terminal. Food Terminal is a Sweet Hut brand corporate. They are a small chain. I think they have about 6 maybe. They have the Sweet Hut is their corporate, and Sweet Hut is also their bakery side. And Food Terminal is their newer, I'm not sure, Malaysian fusion area. They're taking the old Fuddruckers on North Point. Food Terminal currently exists, I think, on Buford Highway, and I want to say they're building one on the west side of Atlanta somewhere, I think Brian told me. And we're excited to have them up here. One of the owners used to live in Alpharetta and traveled North Point Parkway quite a bit. She happened to see on Facebook one of our North Point Parkway pushes that we had out there, and she tells me that she said to her brother, let's drive up there, and it's gonna be fun if the power goes out.
yeah.
Let's drive up there and see what's going on. And they got excited about it, and we're trying to talk them in actually to bringing the Sweet Hut brand as well as Food Terminal up here. I think it would be a good fit for the area. What they've talked about when we talked about it with them is staffing is their biggest concern, as I think every restaurant has staffing problems right now. So we saw this plan before for the building that was no tenant, they
Did that
said.
landscape get approved?
Yes. With some, was that the meeting?
Here for the first, I wasn't here for the second.
So basically, the biggest change was Pat, you had, the first time there was no rhyme or reason, basically, to the materials. So they fixed that up, and then they expanded this one parking island to make it more conducive to another tree. Everything else pretty well stayed the same.
Yeah, I remember it just didn't really seem to have a theme before.
Yeah.
So that's what, painted brick?
So,
Painted.
yes, they have a primer coat on it, and then we got them to stop that for now. I may have told them, I can't remember, it was a while back, but I may have told them they could finish up the primer coat. And the only reason that I would have said that is, if you remember, the current building has a stair step kind of hat finish on this front brick, and they're squaring that off. So they're gonna be adding brick on these two corners here. and it just, I mean, the number of years that building's been there, it just would never match. It would never,
Oh, from materials, it's mostly painting the existing and then that side entry.
and then the side entrance, adding that one, yeah.
That's for the side entrance. It seems like they should have something like that at the front entrance.
We talked about that in our staff meeting, that this needed a little bit of help, maybe something at the top, and then, yeah, we also
bottom.
agreed, bring that,
I put it at the bottom below the,
well, by top, I mean some sort of cornice or something, there's not really a good
but
detail
I'm
up
thinking
there.
around the front door, you do like around the side door.
Yeah,
Landscaping too, so.
Well,
Break that up.
I'll tell you what I'm struggling with. So this is in the eco district. This is in the North Point overlay district, and I'm really struggling. You know, we've got these guidelines that really show some vibrant, exciting buildings, and I can't say that this really is fitting into these guidelines. I think it needs some help. And I'm not sure what it is, but I mean, you just look at these guidelines, they've got some good, some architectural features and some windows and.
Yeah, the main facade of this is a flat
Yes,
black
it is.
wall, right? It needs, yeah.
Which if they're coming from where they're coming from, that's the architecture design in those other places. But I do agree, this could use a lot of improvement, even just the windows.
Yeah.
They're like, they're just like commercial, no panes.
Yeah, right, some
There's no-
mullions in there or something, right?
yeah, I think the struggle's gonna be what's existing,
Yeah.
and if they're using existing, that would fall right into the eco as well, in using what you have and modifying it to do something better.
One of the things I don't see though in our eco district guidelines is painted brick. It doesn't talk about painted brick. It talks about brick. It doesn't talk about painted brick. So, anyway, that's kind of my struggle with this one.
Oh, we definitely have painted brick down there now.
There's a lot of painted brick in the North Point area.
Not with
Yeah.
permission, but we.
And just so you all know, Ms. Palmer and I are visiting a center that's about 70% painted next week. It got started on its own.
Another one?
It's a very large center. So we're going to be visiting that next week to see if we're going to meet with them and their architect and see if we can figure out some ways to make it work.
Let's
So-
make it look a little different.
It's almost like people don't know that they're supposed to get approval unless it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
Yeah,
Not always.
But there's a lot, I feel like there's a lot of that happening, and I'm not opposed to the look of it per se, but
yeah, I hear a lot that nobody around Atlanta makes you go through stuff to paint. So I don't know. I mean, we always have. So at least in the 17 years that I've been here, if you do exteriors,
that's why you drive through Atlanta and see purple and hot pink buildings,
That's right.
right?
Take a stroll down.
That's your thing.
yeah.
Take a stroll down Roswell Road, Sandy Springs, and you'll see. Okay.
So overall, I think it's a nice improvement to the building.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
We really like this detail. So this roof behind this is a gabled roof
I like this. Yeah.
that would gable to the front. So rather than change that whole thing, they're putting that rail up to give it some good architecture and then mounting the sign to it.
This looks great.
I think that's-
To look more like this.
I think that's good. I'm a little concerned, staff was too, that these are not filled in this patio area. I think it would make it a little closed. It's probably just the brick shown behind, but we'll want to talk about that. They don't even really need it. I'm not sure if, as far as code wise, I don't know if they thought, if they're gonna have alcohol, they would have to close it in, but they wouldn't really need it. The eco district would be more towards the planter, detectable barrier things in that area rather than just a fence.
Rid of that and put a plant.
Well, there's a fence there now.
It is. I think it's growing though. I believe the small area is getting a little bit bigger. I think
So they have to have a tree planted there?
no, not with a covered patio.
Everything's just really square.
And the roof are they changing the roof or is?
It's fine.
They're only changing this facade. The roof behind here is gabled like this.
Right, and it's brown?
No, it's, kind of, well, grayish, I think.
Yeah,
Frank, and it's.
shingles
it's
on it or,
Shingles.
and I don't know if they're gonna, if that needs reshingled, if they're doing that as well. We can ask about that.
That's earlier this week.
Yeah, it looks
And then we have,
okay. Yeah, just with.
Alpharetta Town
with the black.
Commons, which is the old La Casa building. I think it's 37 Roswell Street.
So the last one we heard there has gone away.
Looks great.
Remember,
We did the
they'd
whole,
come in, what,
Yes.
a year or two? They're gonna change this around once?
We looked at that 2 years ago.
Before COVID.
2 years,
La
2 years,
Casa?
2 years ago in September.
kind of some major changes too.
I mean,
Okay. I slept since then, so I'm not
There was,
sure.
Yeah, we spent some time with them.
Yeah.
Where is my,
I don't know. I want to get up.
I can't get it to open. Okay, bear with me a second here. I gotta go a different direction.
how about your scroll bar at the bottom? It's a little bit to the right. Could you be off the image?
Could be.
Move your horizontal scroll bar a little bit and see if,
Okay, I got this one.
Has potential.
So a lot of this building was already enclosed,
I mean, I like
but they're changing the orientation a little bit of it. The front door, I think you used to go up right here. So they're bringing that out. I think there was a patio here, maybe, open patio. Let's go to,
the current building, that porch on the front is open,
It is.
except they have these curtains that they can,
yeah.
Yeah.
but it's basically an open porch on
usually
the
open.
front. It's usually open.
I think this is an easier view. So this used to be the front door, so now they're orienting it differently. And this, I believe, is now gonna be their main entrance into it. This portion here is currently patio and enclosed. They're gonna open that up and then just deck the whole thing. This curved deck, I think, goes great with the existing walls that are there for that fountain park. They have talked like they're gonna work with the city maybe to update that park a little bit, make it flow a little bit nicer, so we're excited to hear that. They're gonna bring a few changes today. They've got some window mullion changes that they're gonna be talking about, and I think some railing changes maybe. We'll go back to the elevations here.
So you would walk up these stairs and through this little gate to get to the front doors?
Yeah, you're gonna do this little thing here, or there's another set of steps over here.
And then parking is over
Parking's over here.
here, okay. So how does ADA, how does ADA work with that? Is there an entrance over here on
Had
the
to be.
parking side?
I'm not sure where the ADA is gonna, I know on the back side, on the Roswell Street side, they did build a ramp, but I wanna say that was for kitchen access. So maybe they're gonna alter that and wrap it around, maybe, I don't,
I'm guessing there's a ramp, see in the front where those people are walking up directly in front of
Yeah,
it? I'm
kind of
guessing
at an
that's a
angle,
ramp.
Oh, yeah,
gotta be.
you're right. There
oh,
it
it could be
is.
here,
Yeah.
a little wider and come out of, yeah, there we go.
Okay,
That makes more sense. Then you don't have to walk
Yeah, yeah, because I was like going, that's kind of,
Yeah.
when you said that,
Yeah, not a grand entrance.
yeah.
Love the fireplace thought out there, open, that 360 fireplace, that'll be really popular. I want to say these are looking like, back in this background here, are looking like that double or triple pane kind of fold-out window for bar access. Nice touch there, not just a regular overhead or a regular
Garage.
double-hung window kind of thing. I'm not really sure, these 3 posts show up here, and they show up on the overhead, but the sails aren't attached to them. I don't know if the sails really also go in our downtown ordinance. You guys can discuss that.
Yeah, it's kind of, this is an old house basically that's now a restaurant, and how do you make it more modern, but at the same time follow our guidelines?
Yeah.
So
What
it's,
elevation is that? Any idea?
That's facing
What elevation?
This would face
The
the
light.
intersection at Roswell and Old Roswell.
Faces that point.
So it faces the park.
What,
So it would be south. This would be the south elevation.
Yeah.
And the trees are removed here just for clarity. There's a little note up here. There's
south
one of
facing
them.
Gets hot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at exterior elevations primarily for this one, Brett?
Yeah, and the newer materials,
So do we-
colors.
Do we need to do a site plan as well?
I think we should do a site plan. There is a landscape plan in here, a little bit of one. They're changing a few little things around this side and a little bit in here. They had a one-stop meeting. I asked them to do that quickly before we move forward with this meeting, just to make sure that this added deck could get done in there with the existing trees and different things. And they're gonna bring some details forward to us today on that then stormwater and the arborist will look at and approve later. These 3 circles here are representative of the 3 trees. This is the bigger, I wanna say it's a pin oak, I think. And then got a couple smaller ones here.
Yeah, I do too.
Dare you to find me a North Arrow.
There's layout.
No. Architects are the worst. Everything's 90 degrees to them.
Okay, any questions for 37 Old Roswell Street? None, there being none, let's adjourn the workshop session. Go get your coffee cups filled. Let's get back here in a couple minutes and get started with our public hearing. Thank you. Say, Brett, any word on Richard? The other
Any word
Richard.
on,
The other Richard.
This guy.
I wanna say he told me he would be.
Okay.
I didn't see
Just-
the Rotary. Yeah,
Oh, you didn't see him at Rotary?
yeah.
All right.
Maybe he'll
Does this include us if we wish to speak? Yeah, really.
Well, no, we were.
She's got them printed.
Why did they get to do it and we don't?
We were a little late this week.
Okay, thank you.
Just don't see them, you know, till we get there.
What are you talking about? Who wants help and who doesn't?
All right, Lauren, tell
So
me.
we don't know where he is, huh?
Okay, we're ready.
We're ready. All right, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the City of Alpharetta's Design Review Board public hearing. Today is Friday, September 17th, 2021, so welcome. Great to see everybody here this morning. We appreciate your attendance. All right, order of business, call to order, roll call. We've got everybody here except for Mr. Owens. Not sure where Mr. Richard Owens is this morning, but we have enough of the rest of us for a quorum, so thank you for being here this morning. All right, if a gentle reminder for those that have electronic devices, if you'll just turn them off or silence them, please. And for those in the audience, if you'll do the same thing. And then we're going to stand, face the flag, and have the Pledge of Allegiance this morning, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you for that. Next item is, do we have anything from staff this morning? Brett, Lauren, anything from staff?
One thing that December's meeting, if y'all saw, we are moving that up a week, and we will not be in this room. So I want to start out ahead of time saying, bear with us. We're going to be in the multi-purpose room across the way.
Okay.
This room is getting a complete technological revamp.
Yay.
Need about 4 weeks to get it done.
Okay, very good. So that'll be, so we're moving the meeting from December 17th
To
to December.
December 10th, and we'll be across the hall.
Okay, very good.
So
Right.
we likely won't have as much technology over there. We'll probably do
Okay.
the packets in paper. Well, we'll send them to you electronically, but we'll probably have them available over there in paper because I don't think we're gonna be able to see, and we won't be able to record. So we'll probably just, Lauren and I will probably just share a recording verbally. So we'll ask for some patience with that and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
They do have a projector, but it's not, yeah.
Would it be like using this
It's
one right
very,
here?
not very reliable.
Set the expectation here and then we'll be wowed at whatever
Yeah.
we have.
There you
Instead
go.
of wait,
Yeah, aim low
For
and
the two
under promise over.
long-standing members, they'll remember
Oh,
back in
boy.
the other city hall, that's.
I was there for
you know,
that city hall.
That was brutal.
Four.
Yeah, I was there.
You were over there too?
Well, at one point, we even met in the conference room behind council,
Yes.
the council,
We did meet back in
Had to
there.
throw that out.
so,
That was
No,
check.
I was feeling like that.
So hopefully everything will be then going great for our
Trying to
January meeting, and we'll go. There are still a couple more that are large projects that are in process. Some starting in planning commission, others are still working with staff on getting going, but there's a lot to do for us yet.
okay.
So
Okay, very good.
That's it.
All right, thank you for that. All right, any items from board members this morning? Anything from board members this morning? Nothing? Okay, all right, very good. I do have to, I know we have lunch scheduled for 12 o'clock. I have to leave here at 12:15 this afternoon, so hopefully we can get things done by then. If not, co-chairman or vice chairman, Mr. Brown, will take over for me, so. All right, very good. Next up is we have approval of our meeting minutes from the August 20th, 2021 meeting. However, we just,
Emails you're typing.
Yeah, we can.
Just letting you know.
all right. Brett will correct that. All right.
Delete that racy one.
So we've gotten, Lauren's done a great job of recording our meeting minutes from last month. However, we've not had a time to look at those. So let's postpone the approval of the August 20th, 2021 meeting minutes until next meeting. So it'll give us a little extra time to read all, let's see, how many pages? All 12 pages of the meeting minutes. So thank you for that, Lauren. So, all right, next up, our first applicant this morning is Taffer's Tavern. Are you here? Come on down or come on up, please. Yeah. All right, if you will make sure you speak into the microphone, introduce yourself this morning, and then give us an overview of what we have in our packet today, please.
Yeah, I'm Seth Chandley, the owner of Taffer's Tavern. We are more or less just trying to get our new sign put up, which is a blade sign, which is the same exact style and shape and colors of the current signage that's in place, but we're just trying to remove the two that are there and make it in one location so it's a little more visible. So it's the same finishes that have already been approved, which is a copper finish letter and a back painted black Pantone backer.
Did you bring any color samples or any samples with you this morning?
Yeah, I brought a few finish samples so you can see the kind of the finishes, but they're the same exact stuff that's up there now.
Okay, so that's the copper, is that what?
Yeah, you wanna see it?
Okay. Sure, why don't you start with Mr. Swing down there, and he'll pass it along. Okay, and Brett, you pulled up the,
Is that long enough? Or
Yeah, this is the image.
okay.
I'm not gonna see it. Because it's so tall.
Looks like a knob.
Ooh, look at that fancy thing.
I kinda like that. I got a
So
lot
this
of
is
copper.
the front, the southeast corner.
Yeah, if you're looking at the front of the building, it'd be the left-hand corner.
Left-hand side.
Correct,
So when you look at the front, you're standing on Main Street, you're saying, okay?
correct.
Left front corner.
Left front, okay. My only comment was, I think the sign, if it can, you've got some of the window structure on the building is scalloped on the edges, for instance. It may, I don't know, I'm just trying to add a little more interest to your sign, maybe the top and bottom. And you try to maybe do some scalloped edges or something to give it,
Yeah, we'd originally had it square, it was rectangular, and Kathy Cook read some scope and said, look, we have to round the edges. So we've actually been back and forth with it probably a dozen times or so, but we're happy to play with it again.
The comment then was, it was a rectangle.
Correct.
So if we scallop the corners, we kind of take that part of the code away.
Okay, yeah,
It was the no more than two parallel sides.
yeah.
With the top and bottom completely single lines, then you had all four sides were parallel, so if you scallop those, then that would.
Okay.
We talked about that at the
Or
last
round
meeting
it
too.
like they did.
because you look at the window above the door right there, it's
Yeah.
scalloped at the top
Yeah,
there,
these
so.
scallop corners, so if you did something like that, it would take it,
On the ends, that'd be easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
these little scallops right here.
Yeah, that's easy to do. Not a problem.
That's just my suggestion.
Sure.
There's other
Actually-
board members.
Yeah, we suggested
May
that
look
at the
better.
last meeting, didn't we?
We talked about that.
Oh,
yes.
cool.
And
Yeah.
we missed you last month.
Yeah, I found out last minute that it was, I was like, is it after the regular meeting in the afternoon? Because I've been here at 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock before,
Yeah,
but
we meet
it was in the morning, yeah. Sorry about that.
Want to reference anything like the city, kind of what the city blade signs look like as an example? Like on the parking garage or just,
I don't think we need to.
no, okay.
My other comment was the apostrophe, the location of the apostrophe, it almost wants to fall, I know it falls after the R. When you do it in script, it looks like it's falling between the E and the R in this case, but that's just an observation on my end.
Yeah, I think there's a few different renderings where that either showed like its own space, and then another one that was removed. What do you think? Should we just remove it? We can remove it, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was our sign
I
guys
remove
in
it.
Genius said, yeah.
Taffers is Taffers.
Yeah, I say we just remove it, if
Yeah,
y'all are
I
fine
would-
with
Good
that.
idea. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, because you try to squeeze it in between the R and the S, and it's gonna look, even like something's wrong with the R or the, yeah.
I
save
got
you
you.
a little money on the copper.
There we go.
All right, any other comments or questions for the applicant this morning? Do I have any comments or questions from the general public this morning? I got a reminder up here, so I can do that. So. Lauren's done a good job, all right. All right, we have no comments from the general public this morning, so, all right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, regarding Taffer's Tavern, I don't see any numbers. We don't have numbers. 33 South Main Street. That we approve the signage as presented today with the conditions that, one, the applicant remove the apostrophe from the Taffers, part of the signage. And 2, the applicant will scallop the top and bottom to be roughly in line with the window shown on the application. In the motion.
Second?
Okay, a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Ms. Rocco. Any further comments or questions about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
7.
Please raise your hand.
No opposition. Motion passes 6-0.
All right, thank you.
Very good, Seth.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it. Okay, next up is the cooler. Are you here? Come on down, please, or come on up, folks from the cooler.
Come on down.
Good morning. If you make sure you speak into the microphone this morning.
All right, sir.
Then introduce yourselves this morning and then give us an overview of what we have in our package.
My name is Mani Farhan. I'm the architect of the project.
Ronnie Jackson, CEO of North Studios.
Okay.
John Bardis, the cooler.
Steve Jacobs, General Manager of the cooler.
Great, very good. Thank you for being here this morning. Okay.
Well, this addition is a balcony addition to the studio that we have been in the process of building during the last 2 years, and we are close to the completion. The outside deck area was something that we decided to have it enclosed to be safer and better. There are windows to the outside, and since we got the comments, we were commented to try to adopt it. So basically, the steel columns at the lower level where the coolers are going to have this stone finish around them.
Manny, can you bring up, or did you bring some elevations with you, or are you going to rely on Brett to? Oh, here we
You
go.
mean
Okay.
renderings or?
Renderings? I
Yeah,
think
can you
Brett
walk
has.
us through 'em?
Yeah. Just.
Yeah, I have the renderings.
Okay. Or maybe talk to us what's on the screen there, Manny, if that helps.
He came prepared.
He did.
I like
All
this.
right, very good. And he's got help to hold them up too, right?
I have a hand. That's right. Well, this is the drawings that we started with, the elevations of the building and how we permitted it. These are the renderings that we provided, and if you want to take a look at them.
Yeah, if you want to start with Mr. Swing and pass those around.
Yeah,
Is it the same rendering or are they different
These
rendering?
are the same rendering. Looks the same.
Okay, very good.
Those are just regular.
Yeah, kind of walk us through the materials and what you got there.
This is the landscape plan.
Okay, we'll hold the landscape plan just for a minute. Let's just talk about the balcony addition, if we will, at this point.
Basically, it is very simple. This is going to be on the lower level where the columns are. The rest of it is going to be mostly glass, and the handrail is going to be in aluminum color with cable rails, the thing that we have used before. And also, the columns and the frame and the steel outside is going to be painted dark bronze, just the same dark bronze we have in the existing building. So these are, these are for the.
So a quick question, are you just, I'm trying to figure out exactly how this is fitting into the existing building. So there's a notch in the existing building, correct?
That's right.
And so this balcony is pushing out of that notch, right?
That's right.
So do you have pictures or elevations of the existing building and then how you're trying to match the existing building?
Well, this is what I printed from the landscape.
Are these gutter?
Oh, I didn't have the intention of showing that, but I don't have the photographs at this moment with me of the building itself. But it was a groove in the corner, as you see in here, that is filled up
If you
with
can,
this.
I need, can you speak in the microphone, then I need to get you to address everybody as well.
Isn't there a machine
All right.
up there that you can slide that
No,
under?
it's gone. Oh, it's that right there, but.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Is it up on the screen? Can we put it up on the screen so we can see it? There you go. Kind of. That's cool, right?
There is no existing sidewalk out there.
Are you able to put the rendering up there that he's trying to show us?
Is it right? I
Thought there
right
was.
here,
Lauren, we're
right in this. If you look at this one, it's in this thing right there.
I've got no idea what they do and they don't.
There is a sidewalk.
What?
Sorry.
This is the area.
Okay, so the existing building where it's a corner has some horizontal striping, and it's got all sort of vertical element along the roof line.
Tower type, a mini tower.
Yeah, so that's what I'm interested in trying to figure out, how this blends into that, or if it does, and how the materials blend into that, if they do, if it.
Well, basically, this was a corner that we had a setback in the office front part of the cooler. So there was a little corner there that's where the air conditioning units are sitting. What we did was that we built this frame between the units to have a balcony to cover those units. So basically, we are enclosing the units with a, we are enclosing them and covering the top of it, of course, not the area around it, and the balcony is going to be sitting on top of it. So basically, this is, since the cooler was a two-story operation, we had the option of having access to this area. So it developed, while we were designing the cooler, it developed into a balcony that can be like an addition, because we did not have enough space on the upper level, because of all the rooms and everything, that the studio rooms, there are people who want to take a break or waiting for the next session or things like that. And this is basically like an enclosed room outside that is basically for a break time while they're getting ready.
So do you have the picture of what you're proposing? Is that working, Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can,
Can you slide it
This is
under
above
there?
the air conditioning units.
You mean the rendering?
Yeah.
So this enclosure.
No, the actual,
They were,
the actual, not the rendering.
Picture of what they're presenting, right?
Oh, okay.
Like this one, I think.
they're passing
Because he's
it
telling
around.
us, but I think we need to see materials and style, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's coming around.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh,
not-
so we don't have one to put there.
Oops,
Oh,
Got it.
I'm the,
Mr. Chairman, there's a.
yes, I'm the
traffic jam.
backlog. I'm the holdup, cultured stone. All right, that's heavy.
So the studio is also inside the main building.
I'm sorry?
The studio is also inside the main building, and this is just a break room to what's inside the building. Is that what it is?
This is basically an extra room outside connected to upper level. Upper level is only including 2 studio rooms
Okay.
with their, so this was the additional basically space that we could provide for them to,
maybe this one, Lauren.
to have an extra time while they're waiting for their sessions and things like
Maybe
that,
that one would be
because
better.
sometimes those sessions take a long time and they want to have a break or something.
Yeah, that's a good image.
Okay, so we understand. So there's air conditioning condenser units on the ground underneath this balcony.
That's correct, the existing ones.
I see, okay. And then to the left of the balcony, the existing split-face concrete block, you're showing it all as kind of one monolithic color, but it's striped. There's stripes.
That is correct, that's correct. Well, my intention was just to show the cooler, and I didn't know that it's, you know, that really should have been done right, you're right.
On the overhead, or on the screen now, Brett has pulled up an existing Google Maps version of that.
Basically, we are not making any changes to the main building. Not the block wall, none of the other back walls or anything are going to be changed.
Okay, the access to this balcony is from the inside on the second story?
Only from the inside.
Okay, and
So the true elevation of what I see up on the screen right now, the building to the left goes up much higher than what that's shown. Building is
Not really. No, not really.
I think it is.
The building is 20 feet, so
There.
it
Look at
couldn't
what
be
you
too.
built, and then look at the
No,
building
that's-
to the left.
That's the old one.
Yeah, that's the old one. They're adding the.
That is before we built the second floor frame.
This is the floor
Oh, yeah.
of the
This is basically,
And then they're gonna, their new addition's gonna go to the top of the current building.
Looks like it's going higher than,
There you go.
that's right. If you
Oh, yeah,
want,
on the
this
side.
picture here
got it.
shows the small area that we added the
it comes
frame
pretty
at
close,
this
Pat.
moment.
Okay.
If they,
Right
I
now,
just-
it's more
okay.
developed and we are building the handrail.
Gotcha, okay.
And the stone is going on the,
On the four columns at the
columns.
bottom, if you're looking at this rendering here, the four columns here at the lower level are going to be covered with this stone.
Is that stone anywhere else on the building?
Not this stone, no. But we tried to be as close as possible to the block. It was really hard to put a, 8-inch block around those small columns. And especially since it's an architectural block, it wouldn't be possible for us to purchase something matching that color in such a small quantity. So we were kind of pushed to use some material that could be available.
do you have colors of, it looks like you're probably gonna paint that metal.
The top metal is going to be painted dark bronze.
So do you have a color of like the current brick, the bronze, the stone, so we can kind of make sure all the colors flow together?
Not with me, no.
Okay.
But I can send the material if there's a need for you to review it.
Because like this, it all flows, but it's a rendering, right? And so
That's
renderings
correct.
don't show, sometimes stone, and if the brick's kind of peachy red, and then the stone's gray, and then that's dark brown, it's hard to kind of grasp what that whole.
Well, if you had seen the whole building, or if I had a picture, I could have shown you that on the front side of the building where the office is, there has been some additions and covered decks that are, of course, on the lower level, and they are all painted dark bronze color.
So you're gonna use the
Basically,
same colors that.
exact same color. So we are matching those, and I'm trying to blend it as much as possible the same way that you like to have it.
Are this one that's on the screen, are the mullions, are they white? It makes them appear like it's white.
Are you saying they're bronze?
You're s-
Did you just say they're going to be painted dark bronze? The window frames and the mullions?
The window
They're gonna-
frames and mullions.
They're going to be bronze,
And
Yes.
the area
The handrail-
between there.
and the
Everything's
handrail,
bronze.
The handles are going to be aluminum color.
they would be aluminum, okay?
Or, if you recommend, we can do it black, but I thought,
if you look at this rendering, it's a little deceiving because what they've drawn on,
Yeah.
what Steve is holding on the board, those are sliding doors. So they're parting sliding doors, and there's no light above the doors either. So I guess this is gonna be an indoor space, but you open the sliding doors up and you walk out on a balcony then.
that's correct.
Okay.
Basically, it's not the purpose of going to the balcony, it's opening it up to have an open space there, open air. And if they want to enclose it in, cold weather or something. So basically, those are full-height windows.
On here it says the windows are aluminum. You said that the columns between the windows are being painted bronze, but it says the windows are aluminum.
Well, they can be they can anodize the window frames to make them dark bronze.
Okay, but that's just not, it's not specified on here that that's what's happening.
I'm reading the same thing. It says color matching existing building steel color. Where's the existing building steel color?
I don't have it with me. That's the dark bronze.
No, where's
And
that on the existing building?
It's right on the front office side.
So it's not,
We don't see it here, it's on the front.
No, unfortunately, I should have brought a picture of it, but the front has exact same thing. It has the steel structure, the support that has been added to the main frame in the front is painted dark bronze, and the window frames are aluminum. So we are matching exact same aluminum, same glass, and same bronze to blend into the building.
Which I'm guessing we approved last time you brought this here.
No,
That's right.
They brought the whole,
Not
Yeah.
this.
not this, but the colors for the front addition.
Well, they were gonna do a beach volleyball and movie theater.
Yes.
That was a few years ago.
The owner may be able to comment.
I guess, Manny, I'm trying to figure out how we can get the balcony addition to blend more in and complement the architecture of the existing building. Now, the architecture may not be the most exciting that's there, but how do we get either the colors or the color scheme or the banding of the block or something to be integrated into the balcony so it looks like it was all done at the same time, all built at the same time. So that's all we're trying to do here is and how do we make that work?
Well, my attempt started
And
with
Mr. Barnes
trying.
is raising his hand back there, so he's an eager,
Thank you. What I was going to say is we built the offices about 4 years ago. So they're brand new, all brand new glass, all brand new steel infrastructure into the building, floor to ceiling windows, both in our offices and around the corner. So just wanted to make the point that what we're building here is blended, same colors, same stone, same cinder block, and same steel colors as that addition was. And it wraps around the corner. It's in the same side of the building.
okay. And this is a predominant elevation on West Side Parkway, so this is kind of your main entrance to your facility too off of West Side. So this is going to be the first thing you kind of see.
And we want it to be perfect. Perfectly blended, perfectly matched, and perfectly colored. So that's, the
I think
plan
that's
is to.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to understand, and how can we do that? It just doesn't appear to blend as well.
I mean,
with the
my
existing.
first thought when I look at it from that entrance is it's a structure that's been added in there, and it looks like an added-on structure. Even the roof lines don't match, and that's what I'm struggling with.
Pat, I would respectfully disagree. The balcony structure and the roof heights are blended together on the West Side Parkway side. Now, our mezzanine, which is over 12,000 square feet at the front of the building where my offices are, is lower. So on the back side of the balcony, we will have some height differential higher than our mezzanine, but we will have a ceiling height which matches the bulk of the building, which blends on the West Side Parkway ceiling and roof height. So those will be identical in height. And then the blending of the colors as well as the materials will wrap around, matching our offices both on the front of the building and blending into the West Side Parkway. And that was also the purpose of why we were changing the landscaping on West Side Parkway, and we got some good counsel on that as well.
Yeah, when you look at the view from West Side, though, all you can see is what we're seeing in the renderings, right? You can't see around to the front, really. You just sort of see that side. And the existing materials are a red block, and you sort of have a cream color parapet and cream color stripes in the brick. And then this is dark bronze and aluminum and stone. And it just looks like all the materials of this are different than everything else you see on that facade. I think that's what we're kind of looking at. It might match something around the other side, but from West Side Parkway, you don't see all that. You just see this side of the building, right?
I understand. And when we originally architected the offices, we definitely wanted to get the color scheme and the steel correct. And I think we went through some good interchanges here on that and got good guidance. So I think there was a high degree of comfort with how those offices were both materially structured and colored. And so it does blend nicely. We welcome you. We've also redone the parking lot, et cetera, but we would welcome you to, if you get a chance to see it, or anyone else to come out and see it, only because we took your cue on those colors on the front blend, which is the same material, and we assumed the same cue in the wraparound. So it's the exact same, and the idea was to actually make those colors work. But look, we're open to counsel on how to make it better, but it may be useful for us to share with you photographs of those offices and how that coloring and steel structure matches up, not just in the front, but creates continuity around the side.
I think a thing that Mr. Corkle is going at is all of your elevations and what's actually there are a little bit confusing. If you look what's on the screen up there, it appears that the background roof parapet is the same height as the side. And if you look at what's actually there, it appears that there's about 5 or 6 feet difference in height, but you're showing them the same. So it's confusing about what's actually going to
Fair
be
point.
there.
Yeah, the mezzanine is about 5 feet lower, and therefore that roof descends on the front of the building. And so this would rise above it on the West Side Parkway side, but match the roof height on the West Side Parkway bulk of the building.
I have a question on color. Have you guys considered matching this color with this to make it blend into the building more instead of stand out?
Yes, we recently painted the entire building on the West Side Parkway side as well as the front to, one, it needed it. Number two, the idea was to ultimately create that blend. I think our rendering, to be candid with you, of the balcony itself is not perfect in terms of what our colors are versus what the rendering is showing. That's on us.
If he's talking about a dark bronze, that's a drastic change. And I think in the renderings, the stone is a lot darker than what was presented today. And I get it, rendering colors can do that. But I'm just wondering, and this is just my opinion, I'm not speaking for the board, but if these colors blended more with this stone's gonna be a lot lighter. It would be less of kind of a growth, looking like a growth on the building, and I think it might blend more. And if you did aluminum windows, everything would just kind of be lighter and blend more versus this dark thing sticking out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
That's just, I don't know what you guys think.
We're
about that,
happy
but I
to-
think it would help.
We're happy to do the aluminum windows or leave them the aluminum lighter color. We blended the window frames and the glass on this addition with, as I mentioned before, what the wraparound is on the corner there for the offices. I think the front of the building with the offices looks pretty good, but I'm not here to judge whether we should improve it. We're wide open to doing it. If you think a lighter color on the window frame facing West Side Parkway makes more sense, we have no.
Actually, yeah, and the surrounding, so whatever's gonna be painted, the dark, I would propose maybe painting that lighter to just kind of make it blend in. I'm sure the front looks amazing, but I drive that west side all the time. You don't even see the front, like you
Right.
don't see any of it. So I get that, but this would.
Do you think a lighter, sort of a lighter, more of aluminum?
And painted, the surrounding that would be painted the dark, just matching it with, I mean, there's actually.
Yeah, match it with that cream color.
This is lighter. So you have two lighter colors.
Right.
Maybe making it kind of blend in with that would be
Yeah.
my suggestion.
Mr. Bartis, yeah, you have commissioned an architect, and I think you can go back to Manny and take this. Again, we're trying to get this to complement the existing building that looked like it was there from.
On West Side
from-
Park.
On West Side, and it looks like it was there from day one, and make sure it functions the way you want it to as a studio, and give it the openness and all that. But I think between the colors and what we can do, maybe even some of the materials, I think you can make that blend a lot better.
Well,
It looks like it's like,
if you want, if I want to add some more notes, the side, the heights on these renderings are correct. And the fascia that you see on the side is close to 20 feet because it is fascia. It's higher than the roof itself on the office building. The front of the office has this overhang wrapped up. So basically, those heights are correct, and this addition is not going to be higher than the building. The back fascia, as you see, is what you see in that rendering is the right height. Because it's a big fascia, and starting from 10 feet above goes about to 18 feet or something like that. So basically, that is the case. The reason I did the darker color on the columns on the lower level was to try not to make them be seen, but we can use a white stone or something if that seems to be a preference. We can also paint the area between the windows white, you know. And the other thing we can do is to, I don't know, we decided to have a dark roof to match the other roof addition that has been added to the office recently. So basically, it's going to be blended together, but we'll come up with some more details to indicate.
Okay. Just so,
More match.
you've been probably working with this for months, and we're seeing it for just a couple hours, so to speak. So even bringing some pictures back with you of some of the other, you know, what else is on the building, that will help us understand that whole context. So I think that's where we're coming from here. I think we're just trying to make it look like it fits in with the existing cooler, so.
All right.
One more question, is the roof angled or flat? Because it looks like it's angled, but then on your actual drawings, standing seam metal roof, makes it look like
It's slightly sloped just to drain the water to the front.
okay.
What color is the roof?
There's a gutter, got it.
Dark
You're
brown.
going dark on that too?
It's not going to be seen, it's just too flat to be seen.
Yeah, you probably
from
wouldn't
the
see it
road.
much, yeah.
About 4 acres.
Yeah. I think I don't think anybody had an issue with the stone color you presented. That's a fairly light color so I think the stone you presented is okay. I just think the suggestion of replacing some of that dark bronze with maybe a color that matches the current parapet of the building or something, so that from this view it blends in a little more. Because there's nothing else dark on this side of the building right now, anyway, so.
Okay.
So on your rendering though, I mean, on this photo compared to your actual drawings show, looks like horizontal wires going across. Is there,
On the railing?
is that when they open the sliding doors and then there's a railing outside?
That's right.
Because
There's a handrail.
that picture doesn't represent,
Well, the
your
handrail on that rendering is not going to show a very thin wires, but it's a cable.
Cabling.
It's a cable railing?
It's a cable, and as you see, the lower level is going to have a new cable handrail to match the top. In other words, we are going to add that handrail that is the same color with the top on the lower end, where the basically where the coolers are, where the air conditioning units are.
And that's consistent with the front of the building there, and the offices is cabling as well.
Right, and is this aluminum color?
That's right.
Just an aluminum, okay.
Manny, just a recommendation, I'd be very careful about using horizontal cabling for your railing. It turns into a ladder. And if you have young children out there, they start climbing on it.
You think maybe a vertical would be best, or a combination?
I think maybe certainly a vertical and/or a combination of, yeah.
Okay, got
So
it.
just, yeah,
We'll do that.
lessons learned.
Yeah.
And I got one more comment. There's a gutter shown off the standing seam. And can you not bring that roof, the top roof, the standing seam, past everything else, so the water just goes down into the landscape below? I'm trying to eliminate a gutter, and then you've got downspouts.
It's a very small gutter that's there.
Okay.
It's going to be very small water runoff.
And the thing up on the screen, it looks like the roof doesn't extend over the balcony. Is that?
It does extend over the balcony.
Okay, well then,
The drawing shows
even
it over
up there now, it doesn't.
Yeah, I think our rendering is less accurate than our drawing.
Well, the
the
drawing
drawing right
up
there.
on the screen right now shows the roof line being shorter than where the balcony rail is.
It is.
It is slightly, so you can stand out.
So why wouldn't you bring it past?
Well, we wanted, I think it's, Manny, did you not draw that in order to sort of match the roof line on the right?
That's right. The top is further, is stopping where the building is, not passing out.
Yeah, we were trying to create continuity in the roof line.
So I think what he's saying is this could have either just been extended, and if you can't do that because it meets up on the sidewall, then maybe shrink this 6 inches, because there's not, I mean, there's very little distance difference here. It looks like this is probably close to 4 foot. If you look at the screen up here, this is probably close to 4 foot out, and this is only 4'6". So if the intent would be to get rid of the gutter, then maybe just shrink this 4'6" to 4 foot, and then it does flow over.
I think you're gonna have to have a gutter there, because if water is shedding off that roof at 20 feet or more,
Turn
when it hits the ground, it's gonna be,
Yeah.
and you got condensing units and some other stuff down there. I think you're gonna have a.
I was trying to avoid to have a water dripping up for 20 feet to the ground.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We're in the weeds on the.
Yeah,
gutter
okay.
portion, but I'm trying to make sense of there's a lot going on that one drawing doesn't match the other drawing, which doesn't match the other drawing, and again, we're seeing this for the
Well,
first.
I mean, very honestly,
Excuse me.
I have the same overhang on the renderings.
Excuse me. So we're seeing, like you said, we're seeing this for the first time, more or less. You know, you've seen it we need drawings that match the existing conditions, which is the existing building, showing that accurately, the ins and outs of that, and then we're trying to gather in how this blends into that. So that's kind of the direction on this. And if we keep hearing about the front office and entry, please provide photos of that and where this matches that or this ties into that and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah, that's right, Pat. If it's acceptable, we will come back with all those points covered and try to give you a better, accurate view of how the materials and colors blend accordingly.
okay. I no offense, but it seriously looks like a shipping container on stilts into the corner of into the notch in the building. And I can't get past that, how that does not blend with anything that's out there.
I think our rendering doesn't do the architecture justice, and we'll fix that.
I don't think it does either.
Yeah.
We're on it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Can we get a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, regarding the cooler, 10800 Davis Drive, motion to defer for the applicant to consider the comments from today in the motion.
Second?
Did we
Okay.
not even want it?
You know what I didn't ask for, is there any public comment before, well, let me see. We have a motion by Mr. Swing, second by Mr. Brown. Any public comment this morning about the cooler? All right, there being none, okay, now we can have a discussion. Yes, Ms. Palmer?
Did we not want to talk about landscaping at all?
That's
Or you
the
just
next-
defer the
We're just
whole-
deferring the,
We
I'm
can-
sorry, this
Defer-
deferral is for
defer-
elevations and materials,
just
sorry.
elevations, we haven't even talked about
Did
that.
you
we can
specify?
still-
You're right, I should have clarified that. This is for
Okay.
elevation and materials.
Okay,
Deferral.
thank you.
Sorry, what was the second point?
He just said the whole thing, so I wanted him to specify that we were just deferring elevations, not landscaping.
We haven't
Because we
talked
haven't
about
talked about landscaping yet. So that was my question.
All right, very good. Any other questions or comments about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition, motion passes 6-0. Okay, we can talk about the landscaping now along West Side. Are you prepared to talk about that, Manny? Okay.
Well, oh, you have the landscaping up there. I don't know if you can see this or not.
Let Brett turn on the overhead for us, okay?
This is the existing landscaping facing the West Side Parkway. And this strip that you see to that post and continuing to the left is the strip that is going to be facing the West Side Parkway. And the landscaping design that we have here is in that strip there. Includes this existing landscaping with more additional materials added to it, as you see on this rendering. We are covering this whole area, and we have smaller shrubs in the front and some more larger ones with some smaller plants and trees
Quick question.
in the area.
West Side Parkway, the label West Side Parkway is at the top of the drawing. Is not West Side Parkway down there below where it says sidewalk?
Yeah, yes, that's just
That is just,
dictating that it's.
that's just basically, they're putting a name there. It
It's
should
the
be at the
directional
bottom.
side of the building. It's on the west side Parkway
Okay.
side.
All right, so that,
We've had a heck of a time with this hill. It's almost.
Hills are hard.
It's almost straight down.
so the Dry Creek bed is directly back of sidewalk, right? At the bottom of the hill. So again, when I first looked at this, I was trying to figure this out, why it said West Side Parkway up at the top. So it makes more sense the other way around. So the Dry Creek bed is to capture water off that hill?
No, and in large part, sir, we don't have, even when it rains incredibly hard, we've got pretty good drainage on the property, so we don't see meaningful flows of water. I believe our landscape architect was dealing with the elevation and what could be put and maintained, given the fact that it's, I don't want to say it's 90 degrees, but it's probably 65, 70, straight up that hill. So it's, what could we realistically maintain and manage at those angles? And I think that space is designed around that problem.
Okay. And then, is what I'm seeing, if I'm reading this right, you've got sidewalk, then the hill starts going up, you've got the Dry Creek right behind the sidewalk, and then you've got turf or faux turf on the hill?
I don't think it's turf. I think these are individual plants.
It's labeled proposed sod or artificial turf.
Let me see here. Bear with me.
So if it's real turf on a slope like this,
Oh.
how do you get to mow it?
Well, that's what we're doing now. So we finally, we have a landscape firm that has these vertical mowers. We'll continue to use them. So what we're talking about here, Pat, is, I think, the proposed sod or turf. It's not on the steepest side of it, and it's on the lower side, near the sidewalk on west side. So the steepest is obviously more toward the building. We're pretty confident we can mow that. That's sod.
So it will be sod and not artificial turf?
No, sir, yeah, it'll be, we may come back and go, we can't grow this sod, or it's
I
getting
would
ready.
take another look at this, because when I look at this, I see the top arc of that turf about well past halfway in that slope. And I don't know how you're gonna maintain, I don't know how you're gonna maintain that, and I don't know how you're gonna maintain a
Well, they're,
Dry Creek bed at the bottom.
they are, they're coming, they're still there, our landscape team is there once a week, and they're mowing the entire hill today, I would say. We definitely need improvement in the turf, because, the quality of grass there is not very good. So our intention there is to put down high-quality turf and then continue to maintain it, ensure that it remains healthy.
So is what's there now in that island, is it irrigated? Is there
No.
irrigation? It's
No,
not.
it is not irrigated.
Okay.
Do you plan to irrigate it?
I don't believe we have the right to do it. That's just, our challenge is this is an easement with Georgia Power.
Okay.
And so, I know you probably had several discussions there, but that's a pretty meaningful labyrinth to get through, and just even getting a return call.
It's not in the right of way though, is it? Or is this section in the right of way or out of the right of way?
I think it's in.
Yeah, there's a big power pole right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we have,
Right in the
Georgia
middle,
Power doesn't care
right
if
in the
you
middle of the
irrigate
hill.
easement.
Yeah.
They could care less if you irrigate an easement. The city cares if you irrigate in the right of way. That's where
Yeah.
becomes a different issue.
what we have found, Pat, is that because of the nature of just the flow of water on that, it's not robust, but it's enough. We've never had a problem creating moisture there.
So,
I would just eliminate the turf and eliminate the dry creek bed and just plant it and
Okay.
eliminate the maintenance.
That's easy on us.
what do you do? You just mulch in there? I mean, how do you get the mulch to stay on the hill?
The plants take over. The plants will take over.
The big mulch.
Just don't put hardwood mulch on there, just put pine straw. Hardwood mulch will just be little boats that
It'll just,
Yeah,
well,
run down the stream.
Plus they're big ones.
And part of the turf focus for us is our neighbors have, because it's flatter, moving toward the project that's being built next to us, and then Topgolf.
You're fighting nature with turf on there. And
Look, I'm all for it. It would make
when
our,
it comes to that dry creek bed, I'm seeing rocks and boulders right up next to the sidewalk, which becomes trip and falls if they're not installed right. All of a sudden, sidewalk, rocks next to it, people trip on it. I would just eliminate that too and call it a
I
day.
think you
Yeah.
said eliminate maintenance, you had them.
All right.
yeah, it makes our world easier to just plant.
Can I digress for 1 second, since this picture is such a good picture? Further down the building, going back to the other one, are those gutters that are coming down, are those bronze? And the door here, do you see the gutters coming down? Are they all bronze?
They are.
Which makes it a little different, because there's no aluminum on this side. You do already have dark colors
We
on this
do,
side.
yeah. The building has been painted with downspouts and gutters, the dark browns.
Yeah.
And it's full outline, including the front.
And then the door here, I think that's a door here, almost to the left where the power, is that a door?
Yes.
Is that bronze as well?
Yeah.
So that does, see, like, pictures like this says 1,000 words, it kind of helps us visualize.
I would
So-
argue that that's not even the same building.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and I
it
just,
just doesn't
I
have
was
fire.
just looking at that, at the picture. So you've taken off the facade, the parapet on that corner.
Yes, that's right, sir.
say that
Are
again,
you
I'm
putting
sorry.
that back?
Taking the parapet.
Well, it would be covered.
I think we need some accurate pictures because there's stone here and this is all painted. But this is brick here and it's painted there. There's gutters on the sides, like.
I
so
agree.
looking- Right? So
I don't think
looking
our
at
rendering
this-
is accurate.
Yeah, looking at this, it looks like a totally different building than this. This I could see where I can see why you want the dark bronze. on
That's
it.
where I was going with it.
But it's totally different.
yeah, that big light color parapet is gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we haven't given you a rendering which is an accurate view of how it actually blends.
But now you can kind of understand what we're looking for, so
For
maybe
sure.
when we come back,
Do.
it'll make more sense. So I
We'll do
think
it.
a stark white might be a little scary,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Once
I just
get-
have one more comment.
Yeah, this
That's
is very
so- that's
helpful.
On the landscape, I've
Yeah,
got one more
sorry.
comment on the landscape. Your
sorry.
rendering showed some landscaping shown around the base of that balcony. Your landscape plans don't have anything in there. So I would stress that you'd come back with some landscaping around your rendering looked like Nellie Stevens hollies or something like that. I think we need to keep that sort of thought or theme
you got it.
up top around the base of that balcony.
And Pat, when you approved originally the office expansion, all of that, which is, this picture is not a very accurate picture, but the other one is. But what goes in front of the offices is fully landscaped with sod and great trees and lilacs and roses. Our intention, to your point, is to make that contiguous up underneath the balcony.
Yeah, I don't think you even need anything that gets that big, just evergreen, because your angle of sight is this way until you come up that ramp, then you're past it. So just an evergreen
Yeah.
something, that gets 3 to 5 feet tall, I think you're fine. I don't
Yeah,
think you
and
gotta go
it ends up
huge.
being an outdoor sitting area too, so we want it to be attractive.
All right, hold that thought,
So-
hold that thought. All right, is there any public comment on the cooler's landscaping at this point? All right, there being none, we can move on.
I did have one quick question. So is there anything else going on underneath that balcony?
No, but we have considered, Pat, possibly making the balcony two-story at some point with double glass, just because we've got 6,000 square feet of music studio, 3 studios on the bottom, 2 monster studios on the top. The number of people who will be there may require us to have other lounge, because some of these individuals are well-known and need to be away from more public spaces.
So at the ground level, you're talking about putting something out there or above the one?
We were thinking as a secondary option in the future of expanding the balcony to 2 stories, so it would be a matching glass bottom level in that area that we're talking about, the landscape.
You just have to move all the condensing units that are down there now to
Exactly
somewhere else.
right. Yeah, we've done that analysis of moving them to the other side of the building.
All right, so I'll make a motion on, we don't have a color, on the cooler landscaping that we defer based on today's comments in a motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Corco, a second by Ms. Palmer. Any further questions or comments about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed? No opposition. Motion passes 0. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Guess we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right, and our meeting next month is October 15th. So it'll be the third Friday of the month.
Thank you.
Okay, very good, John. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
So your packet will need to be, though, submitted again on the 1st.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, very good. Our next applicant this morning is
Thank you very much.
LWB TPA 400.
Oh, here's,
Another,
Oh, and don't forget that you
Your
get
stone
the,
as well.
thank you, yeah, don't-
the cultured stone somewhere, sample. All right, TPA 400, come on down, please.
That air compressor's broken. So there's a work order.
All right. I think you know our drill, but if you'll make sure you speak into the microphone, introduce yourself this morning, and then walk us through your package, please.
Sure. My name's John Lewis, studio director for multifamily at Nelson, representing today TPA. Decided to abandon me. I don't know, I guess.
Flying solo.
Flying solo today.
Just a
That's,
You're
sacrifice.
on your own.
that's okay. I could deal with it. Anyway, thanks for having me back. Obviously, we took your comments to heart from last month. And I do appreciate them because the reality is, I think some of the changes we made were a huge improvement, and they're all, based upon your comments. So, our primary focus over the last few weeks was working on those corner pieces, as that was the major topic of conversation as we move forward. All that said, we did make a couple revisions to what we provided at the beginning of the month. And they mainly pertain on the entryway to,
So, John, how many copies did you make?
I got 7 here.
Oh, okay, all right. Everybody get one then.
You get two.
Yeah, I'll give one to Brad.
You can have it.
Made a couple revisions to the entryway at the parking deck in the center tower of the building, if you will. As we've got our interior designer involved in the project, they had some really quality ideas as to how we can engage and make that entryway and the presence of the clubhouse and the building to make it better, to improve from a programming and planning standpoint. And that allowed us to make a couple improvements, actually, at what I think are improvements to that Alpha Loop entry as you go adjacent to the parking deck drive under the building. And I'll highlight that first, as it's in the elevation. You can see that here, where we essentially, this space where the hand was originally presented as more of a retail facade with an entry into the amenity space. But rather than doing that, we opened that up and connected it through to the Alpha Loop trail that we are using to connect back to the backside of the building.
So this is what was in our original package, is that correct? Or is this what's new?
This is new.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at, okay.
And, we think it's an improvement, not just because it allows an Alpha Loop entryway without being directly adjacent to the cars driving through. Originally, we had it isolated just adjacent to the drive for the actual parking deck. So this not only brings people into the Alpha Loop, but brings people into, kind of involve them into the amenity space and leasing offices. And that's
That's a great image. Can you pull
Yeah.
something up and then show them what you're talking about there, the
Yep.
vehicular and
This isn't the same as both.
can.
Am I missing something? This is, there's the doors. Where your thumb is.
This little part right here.
This is the view.
Brett, he handed these out too.
that I think it's a vast improvement. It really draws pedestrian way in rather than, to me, it always felt like it would be awkward having that Alpha Loop connection be directly adjacent to cars driving through. So when our interior designer came up with this, we thought it was an excellent idea, so we immediately incorporated it. The client loved it, so I think it's going to be a huge improvement to the overall project. But that's a major change from what you guys have seen before, besides the corners, which we're going to get at.
Okay.
So the right-hand side of your picture there is the two vehicular lanes?
Yeah, vehicular lanes over here. And this is what would be the Alpha Loop entrance and also an additional entrance into the leasing office for the residential.
Okay.
As far as the corners go, our main concerns were really the two main corners, the ones at Haynesbridge and Lakeview, and also the one at the convergence of the drive-in with the main retail drag through the project. As you can see here, we took the heart. The color was an issue. Like I said in my introduction, I'm glad that you guys presented that as being an issue because this is a vast improvement to that. And we did our best to improve the proportions of that insert panel of brick, obviously change the color in order to increase the size of the glass flanking it. And I think the proportions work better. The color removes our eyesore problem and allows, I think it just feels like a greater architectural element. And we repeated that obviously on the other side of the building, which is the other real main, as you're going to have the most vehicular traffic coming in at this point as you're across from the plaza or the pocket park between the multifamily and the townhomes.
Brett, were you able to pull up what was presented to City Council? Okay, just for reference. There we go. Okay.
Now, obviously, still those conceptual images still have a bit of a difference between this and what we have, but the reality of the architectural design process, we did these renderings for the master developer, and then as the process of designing the building goes, obviously it makes it more difficult to match that 100%, obviously. So, obviously you always do your best, but programming costs, all those things come into play when developing a functioning building plan and elevations.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge improvement, and I would argue that the rest of the building doesn't look exactly like what was presented to the council either. But I think this is not an eyesore.
I'm just trying to make sure one of the council conditions.
A growth.
It's better than what was presented.
Sometimes my words just come out, and I don't know what happened.
Hey, no, I appreciate it. It's
What was the verbiage with city council as far as like?
I think this is
Right.
Corner kind of thing. And I think if you look at this one again, the city council, I think if you bring up your image of the balcony.
This is better than the city council.
whatever thing.
It's better.
I actually like the
Exactly.
rendering now better.
Right.
Absolutely. But like city council didn't say it has to look like this. It was
No, they never say exactly.
exactly.
Something
They said,
similar.
all right, here's the language, I've got the conditions. Substantially similar.
Similar.
Substantially similar is what do the renderings filed with the 2019 application, so, as amended, so, that's the,
Essentially similar.
okay, very good.
That's what we're looking
And so, John, this corner is the corner that's closer to Haynesbridge Road,
Yes.
correct? So this is the northern,
northeastern.
okay.
Yeah, the
All right,
northern.
all right.
John, it's still
Really
getting
north.
that big A there for the Alpha Loop too, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere right in that corner, so it's still getting this in the foreground of it with a better building in the background.
Okay.
Approve it.
Need to call for it. All right. Any other comment?
Mr. Chairman,
Hold that thought.
okay.
You're gonna make a
Oh, you
motion?
got to ask?
No, I've got to ask for public comment.
That's
No. looking at?
I'm looking at your note.
Oh, my note, yeah, that's my note. Lauren's note, that's right, all right. Before you make that motion, is there any public comment about this application from the general public out in the audience? There being none, okay, Mr. Brown, you can continue.
Mr. Chairman, regarding LWV TPA 400 at 2375 Lakeview, I make the motion that we approve the revised elevations as presented today. End the motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Ms. Rocco. Any further comments or questions about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 6-0. Very good. Thank you, John, for your time this morning.
everybody.
Appreciate your persistence.
Excellent collaborative effort with you guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I might just come next month, just because I miss you guys.
It's a good time. It really is.
Bring good coffee and snacks with you, though.
Okay.
All right. Okay, our next applicant is Sedg Investments. Come on up or come on down. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. While they're coming down or setting up, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Just a 5-minute recess,
Quick.
okay? 5 minutes. But go ahead, if you'll get set up and get ready for us.
Yes.
You've got 5 minutes.
You might be asking the wrong person.
Once your display is ready, it's up on that big screen. Actually, it'll come up on the little one there too. So once the projector come on.
Yeah, Kate, you do have a way with words.
So
Literally. I'm like, I feel like we should almost open that door to like let air flow in or. I know. Can you guys get to work and stop like having fun out there?
I wonder if we open it that way.
My brain's all over the place. There's too many conversations going on.
Aim low. Low hanging fruit, huh?
All right. Getting close.
Sad state of affairs, Frank.
We're flexible, we adapt.
Doesn't show up yet.
Okay, well,
So
Bear with us just a minute. We gotta get our staff back.
We don't need them.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, let's take this meeting
Think about it.
Someone's got to run the computer. so-
Ponder on it.
Okay, let's move this along here. Get Roger involved here.
All right, where did Lauren go?
You just can't, you're beside yourself, aren't you?
I got you.
So, yes. I mean, one little suggestion. If you want to keep that half and half coming,
By the way, this building, it feels like it belongs in Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
Yeah, bear with us a second. Let's get Lauren and Brett back here.
They kind of like,
Trying to prop it. Oh, so that's,
I mean, I don't think we've ever done this.
Well,
So, I mean,
my feed is what
know it looks good.
okay. All right, let's end our recess this morning and get going with our next applicant. So our next applicant is Sedg Investments. Good morning, you're here, welcome. If you'll introduce yourself, speak into the microphone, and then give us an overview of what you are presenting this morning, please.
Good morning. I'm tall. Is that picking me up okay?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Kenny Ellsworth. I'm with Studio Sogo Architects. We are looking at Sedgwick Garage building here on 119 Roswell.
Yep.
Is there something I need to do to get that up?
Which ones?
All right, are you wired in?
I just plug in this HDMI, right?
No. He retained the,
Whatever it takes
wife
to
retained
display
Peter,
your computer
the other way
out.
around.
Okay.
Your name was Kenny?
Yes.
Usually like a function.
Ken?
In a split before,
Kenny.
when they got divorced.
Didn't ask you,
So I'm not really sure who's whose.
I am not sure how to do that.
Here comes Lauren, she's a lifesaver.
She knows everything, even more than Brett.
Yeah, Brett's gonna be out soon.
Brett's
Yeah,
just
pretty
the
soon,
wingman.
pretty soon Brett's gonna be sitting over there and learn.
Exactly.
I need a Lauren in
You're
my
checking people in at
Brett's
city
good.
council next, and then
Brett's gonna be in the community room.
The overflow.
Brett, did the Alpharetta building, did they just clear a bunch of landscape out of there?
Where they're building out to the side.
Yeah, it's like got this morning it had just this clean, like, open kind of feel. I was like, did they remove bushes or something? It looks great.
The Alpha Soda?
Like in front of that whole building, yeah. Unless the building's just,
There was nothing in front of it.
Yeah, I was gonna, there was never any landscaping.
maybe I was like asleep at the wheel or something.
Again.
I know. Problem. I need to nap at home, not in the car. But it's looking good.
Well, you know, they
Starbucks
took the,
looking good.
oh wait, which, are you doing the Starbucks building or the,
The Alpha Soda, or the old Alpha Soda
Okay.
building.
cause Starbucks, they put in landscaping,
Yeah.
like, last few
Yeah,
weeks.
something.
Do they took, little structure? Is there any-
Yeah.
there's a lot going on.
Maybe.
Only be
Nothing to do with
Just
it.
so it looks
That's the
like
ghost.
power
Yeah,
source.
maybe that's.
Did you have a charger?
Cause I had that orange and the purple thing, all of it, all of that's gone.
When that
Now.
nail salon,
Please don't. No,
Yeah,
totally transparent.
I'll give you my jacket.
neighbor was,
It's not gonna solve the hot problem.
and she sold it.
We do not have a charger.
No charger.
And then her
Brett,
husband.
can we use the presentation on your side?
Yeah.
Apologies.
I would, for whatever reason, it doesn't allow me to change that, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Brett's pulled it up on the monitors for us. So, all right, Kenny, walk us through the site plan, please.
Okay, so this is 119 Roswell. As you, I'm sure you're all familiar, that's the Pure Taqueria there in the middle, as you mentioned this morning. The site for this building is this little piece of land there on the west side. It's a small piece of land. It's a little complicated to try to get in here. So that dictated a little bit the shape of the footprint, which then started to dictate a little bit the expression of the building. if you've spent any time at Pure, you've probably seen some of the cool little vintage VW restored, vintage and foreign vehicles that Chris restores. The purpose for the building is really kind of to display those as a retail store for the vehicles and also a little bit of Pure merchandise. So, Brett, if you could go to maybe the elevations, or we'll start with the floor plans. So the floor plan, we have the front stoop there. On the east side, we're facing Roswell, short side of this building. So we have the stoop and the front entry would be there. You'd come in across these car lifts. These are four, not stories, but 4 cars high. That would be, elevator type lifts with the retail and office components back behind them.
That's the automatic door device. Tim, why don't you just shut that door? I know it's gonna block the ventilation. That way it'll stop the, every couple minutes of, thank you.
So it's a multi-purpose building on this little piece of land. The idea here is really to highlight the vehicles. They're works of art, really. They're restored, they're vintage, they're very cool looking. So we wanted to highlight those on the north side, which faces the larger open area and parking nestled between all of these buildings. And the plan is very simple.
Kenny, north is up on what we're looking at on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Is that right, Gabby? Yeah.
there
Oh,
you
yeah,
go.
that's
Okay,
right there.
gotcha.
Yeah, pretty close. And Brett, if you can go to the elevations. So we were hoping to, we're striving to work with the mercantile aesthetic as spelled out. Because we're trying to highlight these cars, we wanted a lot of glass. So we're trying to break it down with the mullions as such. Really express the building in brick, red brick, and I have some color palette that we're looking at. We're using a red brick that has some heavy texture and some color variation to try to imbue a sense of time and permanence to it. And the main block where the car lifts are is the main expression, and the back of house office type areas are pushed back architecturally a little bit and painted out for a little contrast.
So just tell me what's painted out?
So on the image on the left, this is the one facing Roswell.
Okay,
So it's all brick on this elevation.
that's all brick.
It's all brick. I know we had a note that was incorrect on the other. It was not fiber cement. That's intended to be brick there.
That's brick, okay.
Painted out just for some hierarchy. Keep the red brick on the lift area. The bottom piece there is one of those vertical lift overhead doors to get the vehicles in and out. This is not a daily occurrence. It's pretty rare, just to swap the cars out or as needed. It will hold 16. Yeah, 4 lifts of 4.
The texture.
The elevation on the right is the north elevation, where we're mimicking that same kind of, grand arch infilled with glass aesthetic. And the block to the right is also brick. We looked at that a little this morning, where we were trying to compose some of that storage and back of house use, so we didn't want to just have a big blank wall. So we've proposed some faux windows there, real windows, where is appropriate. And then the other 2 sides are really back sides. You don't see them from right away, really, and they're pretty close to the other buildings and property lines. So here we are proposing a fiber cement panel painted out the same color as the brick.
On the structure that's next door, where does that line up with this? Where does it start and end?
I'm not displaying. Is it possible to pull up a map?
Roger,
An
I'm
aerial?
not sure what you're,
Well, I'm trying to see if you go back to where we were.
Which structures are you talking about?
You're talking about the EA.
The
EA homes.
EA home.
Oh, on the next site?
Yeah, just
Oh,
trying to see
okay.
where that is in relation to this
I had the
side.
same question.
Google Maps, yeah.
I think you are gonna see more of the building than you're thinking from all.
Yeah, we're pretty
all
far from
perspectives.
Old Milton at that point. There's a lot of trees to screen it. The EA, so our site,
I think you're seeing it from,
One more over, Brett.
yeah, there we go.
So it's gonna sit
Yep.
right there.
right.
I'm not really gonna see it at all from the.
I mean,
See the outline of the drive
no, because this
here?
house is here. That's Theo's right here.
That tree you see is basically dead center of the building. Yeah.
And that's Penn's property next door, right?
Yeah,
Those two buildings?
Yes, it's sitting right here.
And EA is 2 floors, right? 2 stories?
floors. You can see it, I drove by Roswell Street, you can see, you look down Roswell Street right there and head towards EA, you're gonna see that side.
You're gonna see this corner
Yep.
some, and you're gonna see this corner some.
And especially, it's 30-something feet tall, so it's,
It's 30, I think it's 38. Is that your parapet height is 38, I think? Yeah, that's the max.
38, yes, to the top of the brick part, right. The lower area is 34.
But the fiber cement side, it faces Penn's property, right?
Yes.
Okay. This one on the right,
Right.
that's, and then is this other one right here to the back, kind of facing like the Theo's part? The one on the left?
No, this side would face here.
Yeah.
Just
that's what-
that-
Yeah, and that Theo's? That Theo's?
No, Theo's is up here.
Oh, up here, okay. But it still will face this house, I mean, it's,
Face these two buildings.
okay. Thank you.
well, and Holly, you're seeing that west elevation, it's kinked there. So you're seeing some of the south elevation on the right-hand side and some of the west.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So what we're seeing here, this is the part that is the fiber cement.
I'm sorry,
This is all fiber cement, right?
that's correct.
And the other side is brick or fiber cement? Facing interior?
Facing north and facing east is all.
Facing north to the interior?
Yeah, facing Roswell and facing up toward,
And that's
Marietta.
brick or cement?
that's brick.
All brick.
All brick.
Okay. Gray or red?
So
Right.
Okay, all right.
let's do this.
But is it,
Got it.
So this is all brick.
Right?
Okay.
all right, you're showing, all you're showing is red, you're showing red brick. You've shown us a sample of red brick.
Right.
So now you have some gray brick.
The gray brick is just painted.
Oh, it's painted brick.
Painted the iron ore.
Is it?
Okay.
Yes.
So you're gonna paint that brick?
We'll probably not use that exact brick. We want to have a little bit of contrast and texture. We'll probably use a cleaner brick on the gray areas.
I mean, cleaner color.
No, cleaner texture.
Cleaner texture.
This is very textured.
Yep, okay.
Probably
All right,
also very-
Brett?
Got
All right,
it, got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So this is red brick.
Red brick.
okay.
This is gray brick and siding and siding.
Correct.
Correct? Gray brick here.
So everyone's brick except that one side, facing EA.
Did we make that backside brick, Gabby?
If you don't mind to step up to the podium, if you don't mind, just so we can catch it for the record.
This is Gabby.
Hi. The
Thank you.
diagonal is the only thing that's fiber cement,
Everything else is brick on the whole building? Ah.
because it's more visible.
that's helpful.
I really liked your presentation early in your package there of kind of the mercantile look. And Brett's gonna, yes, I really like those, the mercantile. I just can't see how these fiber cement panels fit into the mercantile look. So that's my challenge at this point.
Okay.
My challenge on the back side of that is pure blank walls that you see and they're 30-some feet tall. Even though it's back of building, I get that, but it's also seen, and that there's a distinct lack of windows or fenestration back there.
The challenge.
And you are gonna see it?
You'll see
So
it.
I'm struggling with that portion especially.
You will see it a bit from a distance. The other issue we have is we're pretty close to the property line, so
I was
we
gonna
have
say-
some fire rating issues and limitations on openings that we can do there.
So you do have some openings back there,
Yes.
okay? Yeah, it's almost like that elevation is a totally different building. That south elevation is totally different from the rest of it. I think the rest, you've got some nice brick features, so forth, kind of that very mercantile look, and all of a sudden you turn the corner and boom.
Our feeling was that nobody's ever going to really
You
experience.
turn your back to your neighbor.
Well, the back is brick. I mean, on here, on this screen, it says fiber cement, but what she's saying, that's brick, right? The elevation?
No. No.
That whole side is.
That whole
has
side is.
Fiber cement.
The right side, south elevation.
The right side is fiber cement. The left side is half and half because of the angle.
Yeah.
And that angular side is the one that faces EA Homes, right?
Yes.
I'll just do that one more time. So, Roger, this entire elevation,
Well, I got that, I just didn't see that, how they had that broken.
yeah, it's because they're showing
Yep,
that it's a square box here, so you're seeing it back with the solid.
got it, I got it. Thank you.
Would you take exception to making that brick?
I think, the reason we did it this way is we really didn't think anybody was going to experience it. Even from Old Milton's pretty far away. So, I don't know if, Chris, you want to say anything on that?
Hi, everybody. Chris Sedgwick here.
Morning.
Listen, I didn't want to go ahead and make a building that was boring, okay? So I wanted to break it up. I really wanted initially to do metal panels, but you guys are opposed to that kind of look. And so we changed our plan to go ahead and add the brick and kind of paint out the brick so we had some contrast between the main part of the building, the part where the cars are going to be stored, in the back of the building. I think, personally, old gas stations used to be concrete block in the back. I think a different type of material would be good. We do have a firewall issue where we have to have a 2-hour rated firewall, so there's not a lot of penetrations. There wouldn't normally be a lot in the back of a building like this anyhow. We're not trying to show and illustrate, space that we have in the back for closets and storage and what have you. We really need kind of blank wall space without windows in it. So.
But you got windows in it.
We have windows where the stairwells are, so light into the stairwell inside.
So the stairwells and those vertical windows, that's where the stairwells are.
Yeah, that's a stairwell, and the horizontal windows are in a hallway that you access through the building in order to get into the lift part of the building.
So those horizontal windows, Chris, are right here, showing.
The 3 horizontals,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's in a hallway to allow light into the hallway.
The window mullions are dark, right?
Yes.
And your, railings and all that are dark,
Right.
which kind of helps pull it all together, right?
So yes, that's the intent. We wanted a limited palette for fairly small buildings.
Those windows on the stairwell, which elevation is that? Not the other side.
The little skinny, the tiny,
Those.
no, go back.
Right there, those are, the ones that look like they're clear, those are actual windows?
Those are windows, yes.
I mean, I would like to see the mullions in there similar to what's next door, just to make it tie in.
I can agree with that.
I personally like it. The fiber cement, it does not bother me. I don't really think you're gonna notice it or see it all that much, especially, you're going in this direction on Old Milton Parkway, and you're not gonna be looking behind you. If you're in a car, you shouldn't be. I think it looks awesome.
What are you doing on the seams? Are you doing like a board and batten look on because you're gonna have to cover the seams of it, so what?
Right. We were proposing a reveal system, so it's a small reveal rather than an applied batten. We were pulling this, in the guidelines, I know this isn't a typical storefront building that's up on the sidewalk, but in the guidelines, it says, put most of the attention on the front, and the sides and the back are a little simpler. And so that's the intent here.
I like the contrast, and it's gonna be somewhat flat. It's not gonna stand out that it's different too much from the brick.
Right, and that's why we painted it
Yeah.
dark too,
Yeah.
so that it will blend together.
So do you have the sample color of the paint in your paint?
It's with,
right here.
Oh, is it?
Brick.
Oh, it's on there, okay.
Oh, there we go. All right, I missed that part of it.
Yeah,
Brett,
it's iron.
can you pull up that elevation maybe from Old Milton on the Google Earth, the Googler?
You talking about like just street view, or you want?
Yeah, street
okay.
view, please.
So it'd be right in there.
Right.
And you're going in this direction,
Oh, Brett.
so, I mean,
Like-
driving, yeah. Brad's going
He'll
on the
get
right,
pulled
yeah.
over.
Brett's gone the wrong way.
And then it'll be back there.
Yeah, so can you go up to the driveway into that EA?
Go up Roswell Street, head north on Roswell Street, or there you go.
I tried that, hard to see much.
A little, one more click north.
Right to that driveway, the driveway there.
Get to the,
So it's gonna sit like right in there.
But that's gonna be like the, kind of the front.
That's the front door.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's, the fiber cement is really an issue for me at all,
So one more time,
With the-
back to Old Milton, please.
with the trees, and, I mean, I know that in the winter,
think the
those
biggest-
leaves are not there, but,
The biggest place you're gonna see it is gonna be, you'll catch some, because it's gonna be taller than this, so I think you'll catch a little bit up here.
Be 15 feet or so taller than that, right?
It's not another white brick building.
12 feet.
yeah,
yeah,
right?
I'm looking at, so it's 34,
No, we don't want any more of that.
No,
38 feet tall,
34 to the lowest parapet.
38. So if you did,
another story.
if you did 10 feet of floor, at the best, that's
This
10
is-
foot.
Probably in the neighborhood of 30.
30,
Remember, those are deciduous
I'd
trees.
say it's less than that.
Maybe to the peak.
I mean, even if it's floor to floor is 10 feet, 10, 20, and then some roof pitch in there, 8 feet.
Is the roof on that EA building, is that, I can't remember, is that a gray?
Yes,
Kind of a lighter gray, not a,
yeah, light gray,
okay,
almost galvanized type.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one more question. So what's the distance between, I know there's a 5-foot landscape strip, which you can't put anything that's gonna scale anything.
What the distance between where and where are you referring?
Property line, there's a 5-foot strip between property line and edge of building. There has to be, there's a 5-foot landscape strip from what I,
Or is it more
See
than
the
that?
drawing.
Is it more than that? What's the setback?
waiting for a break.
We're 5 feet between us and the property line at A,
Okay,
and we're 10 feet to the west.
Maybe, Brett, can you go to the very first picture? It kind of shows, yeah, there you go.
So this is 5-foot setback right here.
5 foot there.
From
10
the
feet.
property line. And that other building is, I would bet 5 foot, maybe just a little bit more.
pretty
It's
so
pretty
do you know
close.
what the distance between that 5-foot, your 5-foot property line is and where their landscape is?
Where
Just trying to
this
figure out- I'm
landscape
just trying to
is?
figure out the distance in
Parking,
between.
isn't it?
It's pretty
Not very
tight.
much.
They're 5 feet
They're 5
as well.
feet-ish.
They're
yeah.
5 as
So
well.
they're 5 as well. It's 10 feet from
total.
building to building.
Okay.
Well, being 10 feet, that portion to the building, you might just see a little bit of the top.
Isn't that why they
but-
have
see the
firewalls are so close to it? Or no, am I making that up?
No, it's true. That's what they said.
Is that why, the purpose of a firewall when you're that close to another building?
yes. And you can only have a percentage of openings.
Okay,
The closer you get to the property line, the smaller
smaller.
you
Okay,
get,
okay.
the less openings you can have. And you also actually have to rate the wall too, in some cases.
I think it does give a little bit of interest. This is really showing pretty flat, but there is a bump here that's in the stairway that's represented here.
Well, I'm just thinking that lower portion of the building, the one that's only 34 feet tall, is painted gray brick. So you keep it painted gray brick all the way around. So it's one entity, and then you've got the red brick building. And that's how the two come together. That's where I'm coming from. And then on top of this, it is a display. So we've got we're looking at, so they're trying to display cars here, so I assume that's gonna be clear glass, almost floor to ceiling? Is that what, on the north elevation?
That's right.
So that's just clear glass, floor to ceiling?
We have some wind beams to break it up a little bit, and the mullions, but other than that, it's clear glass.
Yeah, I guess this is where I kind of have a fundamental concern with this. I don't want to be looking back at this 10 years from now and thinking, you know, this building gets sold, right? Somebody buys it and they go, this would be great, I could rent car storage in here. And you put whatever kind of old car, you know, there's no guarantee this is always going to be pretty cars showing through these windows, right?
You put your boat in there, right?
You can
Boat
put-
in there, you'd be
right.
fine, right?
I mean, if there was a guarantee there was always going to be well-maintained classic cars in here, I think it's kind of cool. But how do we know what somebody might, if they don't change the outside of the building, we don't have any opportunity to comment on.
That's true.
The architecture, right? And so how do we guarantee that what's behind those windows is always attractive?
We never can.
That's why we normally, a lot of times we go, what's going to be behind those windows? And a lot of times we change the design, right? So you can't see, what's back there. So I'm just kind of concerned that down the road, this could be anything behind those windows in this location, right? Which is a very prominent location near downtown.
Can you stip it and say something along the lines of if it changes, there has to be you can put glaze and all that jazz on windows.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something you can put in a motion because I think it's a cool idea, but I also get that, 50 years down the road.
What's this building being labeled as? What's it being permitted under? Is it an office building?
No, they've told us that it's a museum.
Oh, it's a museum.
Mercantile.
What is?
Okay,
Right, what's
so,
the use,
but
though?
when you talked to Brian Borden, the zoning administrator, you told him it was a museum.
We were asking him questions about it. I don't think that was a formal request for museum. With museum, we get into to building code issues with egress and all of that. We don't want to call it an assembly space. It's really a retail.
But you only have, you're only saying that you've got retail on one space on the bottom at 256 square feet.
Plus the car lifts themselves.
Those are retail?
Yes.
Retail, so the cars are for sale.
So that means they're gonna be moving in and out, so that's a car lot,
It's a very niche custom
car lot.
market. They're not coming in and out daily. This is it's I don't know how to classify it other than that, but it's a very niche thing.
I'll speak to that. This is a passion project for me. This isn't really a business. As you know, my garage behind Pure, I have all these old cars. I bought my first Volkswagen about 5 or 6 years ago, and I fell in love with the Volkswagens, and it's sort of a little bit of a sickness. And so I filled up my garage as best I can. I filled up my mom's garage and everybody else's. And when I was a kid, we had matchboxes. We had a little matchbox display case, and that's kind of what the idea of this thing was supposed to be. It's a place for me to store these vehicles. I've told my wife I'm going to sell them. But I'm in no great hurry to sell them. I don't think I ever sold or traded a matchbox in my life. I kept them all. And, the idea is to put them on display. They are works of art. I lost my father recently, and I was working on a 1962 Ford Ranchero, worked on it for 2 years, and unfortunately passed right before I was able to finish it because I wanted to have him have it in his garage. It's something to look at. It's functional. I use them. I drive them. We send them to the farmer's market and what have you. And yeah, I will occasionally sell some, but it's not a car lot. Okay.
Okay, so I guess I'm confused. So I've heard storage, I've heard display.
And regardless, how does that help this concern, right?
Well, I guess, yeah.
How does that
One
help, regardless
thing
of
that
what
we
you call
can't get into is the use. That's not this board's thing. So we gotta look at the architecture, we gotta look at
Well,
what
we
it
can get
is.
into a little bit of that, Brett, because let me say this. This is called a garage. On the drawings, it's
Right.
called a garage. And
Right.
for parking garages around town, we've tried to make sure you don't see much of the vehicles, the parked vehicles. So we
right.
have to kind of, are we going in that direction? Or is this for a totally museum display?
Well,
that's all glass and.
right, what I'm saying though, I was trying to answer a little bit of Frank's concerns in the future, and future use, we can't really, if they change the use, they'll get a new business license and then, but
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be anything that restricts what you can put behind these windows in the future.
Okay.
If it's a parking garage, you're not gonna like hang clothes and stuff in there, right?
No, but he sells this, right, at some point in the future, and I buy it, and I go, I could rent space to people to store cars. They don't have to be nice cars.
Store anything.
Right.
It's just, or a boat. I want to store my boat in there, right? And that's kind of what I'm concerned about, is that, you know, what could happen?
The other
Right, because this is just big old glass, clear glass windows, right?
And a storage facility. So they would have to go through council. If it changed to a use where you're actually a storage facility, that would have to go to city council for approval.
Well, Mr. Sedgwick just said he's gonna store cars there, so is that considered
Yeah,
a
but
storage facility?
if it's for his personal use, but if you run a Cube Smart, you know, it's a different use.
Could we, like I was saying, put some sort of step in there that if the use was to change, then it would have to go before DRB for approval?
You
So that
can't,
he
but
could show them,
DRB can't do use,
or to council, whoever, for
we
approval.
can't
No,
condition
okay.
that.
That's another entity to deal with. Yep.
I think we just have to look at the architecture as it's
I
presented.
still think regardless, there's
I like the way
concern
that
what could be back here.
presented.
So my only issue is the backside, and again, the lack of delineation along there, and the proximity to the views of street and views from that neighboring property.
So if they took some of the delineation from the front of the, I say the front, was it the north and the east, and brought that around to the south and the west, would that kind
That
of?
would help, I think.
Okay.
I think you brought up some really good concerns, and it's something that we probably just want to put in the overlay for downtown. Because, you know, if we want to encourage, of course, these, you know, the arch windows and the big mercantile glass. So it may be that it's that we need to look at putting something in the design overlay for downtown. Because if we worry about what can go behind the glass, I would worry about that, and I can think of several locations. So I think it's a great point that we should put in the overall design guidelines for downtown.
We do ask the question a lot, though, in
Yes,
doing
we should-
designs. We ask people, what's going to be behind those windows?
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll ask for changes to the design based on,
So I think that would be something good that we look at of putting in the design guidelines, because just like what you're saying, you know, we don't really regulate it over many years, so they may have it the way it should be now, but we have no way to regulate if they change and start putting something behind the windows. It reminds me of the on Windward Parkway when they put the kind of the ticker tape, the stock, you know, right behind the glass. There's really nothing you could do about it because it was just very. So I think it's really an overlay item that we need to address in the code going forward.
But that wouldn't apply now.
Right.
But to that point, it will for the future. If it's added to the overlay, it would deal with
Then it would
maybe
deal
the
with
next
the future,
owner.
yeah. What if they did something, Richard and Pat, just with this area? Just, you know, this is delineated differently from here and here.
I think I could see that. I could make that.
That would break
That
it
would
up
help.
a little bit more.
I mean, again, we're in the mercantile, this is a mercantile look and feel is what we're trying to
And
accomplish.
I'm struggling with the west elevation as well.
And what
That's
it-
30, what's the,
This one?
yeah, it's listed as brick siding in the one section.
Well,
That's
right, this
That's
is the
this.
brick.
Right.
What you're seeing in that other one is them bringing this
Yeah.
square out.
I'm just struggling with 30, how tall is that? 30 something?
34.
That's 34.
34.
Struggling with 34 feet floor to top of a blank surface that, again, somebody on the other side is looking at, or left looking at.
What if you continued a couple of those bricked-in window areas that you've got on the front elevation?
Yeah, I could see, do something like that.
Bring that here?
Yeah.
We could do that.
I'm
It's
a
such a
shrub
small.
guy, but any kind of fenestration in there that breaks up 34 feet by whatever is good. Big mural.
Hey, a mural.
A mural, no.
Mural solves all the problems.
Paint it pink purple.
Right.
Well, but,
No.
I know that y'all are having issues with this, but what would you rather see? I mean, do you want that all bricked? Would that make you, like it more if the cement panels,
I think
were
as you turn,
brick?
as, Holly, as you turn that corner from what looks at Roswell Street,
Right here?
and you, yes,
Yeah.
that's Roswell Street elevation, take it back to the second set of, just past the second set of vertical windows, and maybe that's the brick. And you do some bricked in,
Well, that's the middle
Arch.
of the bump out, though.
no, I'm sorry, keep on going, that's a downspout, keep on going
Oh,
right
oh,
there,
right
to
there.
that other recess or that other notch or whatever that corner right there, then you're getting that coverage. And you do some of the blocked in, bricked in window kind of theme there too, instead of just a total vertical window, floor to ceiling. And then the other thing now, I'm going back to Frank's comment too. Brett, if you can go back to the north elevation. Okay, so we got the north elevation, we got the two high bays, arched window bays. Behind those clear glass windows, there are cars, but where the cars are, there's gotta be some sort of railings or handrails or something, right? So you're gonna see that. I'm trying to figure out what you're gonna see as you
You're
look through the
talking-
windows.
You're talking about interior.
Yeah, what you look through to see. Obviously, you'll see cars or whatever's there.
And the lift.
And the lift mechanics, and then the handrails, and then I guess there are lights hanging down or something, or I don't know how they do the lighting in it and whatever else. How much are we seeing into the interior of the building? And how much of that may not be so architecturally pleasing to look at?
If I may, we want to highlight the cars, so everything on the inside is, we're going to do our best to minimize the visual impact of that.
So when you do that, people aren't actually walking out. If you go, oh, I want to look at this Volkswagen on the fourth floor. Does somebody go up there and then go out to look at the car and walk around the car to look at it?
Yeah, yes, there are catwalks in that area for that.
Okay, so you'll have to have some handrails and stuff as people are on those catwalks.
Correct.
And one question for staff is, any landscape required for this? And if so, does it come to us?
Yeah, we got the landscape, that's not it.
Did you say you got this late? Is that what you said?
Yeah, is this the one that you said that you?
Yeah. My drive's not working.
You can see the side. You really can see this top part. I don't think you'll see much of it. Yeah, so. I'm okay with I just think this should be brick.
It's pretty minimal with the, 5 feet basically around it, but there it is. Let me make it just a little smaller.
Did you get to check your rings notification?
Did you?
Yes.
Am I reviewing this now? I'm just wondering if it was there. Are we
No,
reviewing this, approving this? or-
This was not in the package, so we can't.
I mean,
But it might help us,
We can't do much in 5 feet.
yeah. I mean,
The dogwoods.
we can probably, don't you think we could?
What's the elevation compared to neighboring sites? Is it same elevation, grade level?
It's
little higher.
pretty close, since we're so
Or are
close
you
to
a
it.
little taller, you a little shorter, as far as grades go?
I don't know offhand, I could pull up the survey.
I think this grade is pretty close through the parking lot. I think this grade is pretty close. I think it goes uphill to TBV 122.
I think where we have the building it currently comes down, and I think we're proposing to bring it up just so it's like, flat with the landscape.
this one, column?
Oh, I didn't see it. What are we talking about? European?
So if anything, we're just bringing it up to be with,
Betulius?
like, the site.
Yeah, the elevation close to Roswell is 1134. We are down from that at 1130, so 4 feet lower than the street. My topography does not cross the property line, so I don't know where EA Homes is.
So
They're lower.
your finished floor is 4 foot lower than Roswell Street right over here.
Right.
But it's about, do you know what the finished floor on the
I don't know what the finish.
office building or on your?
Hey,
Oh, and
it's
our-
lower.
Yeah.
My building right here is 1136.7, we're 4 feet below, okay?
Over here.
So, N2P sits up above, if you're in the back of it. The floor here has to be at the same level as the drive in order to get the cars
Right.
in there. So it's the existing level here, which is 4 feet down. It says 1132 here, 1130 here, it's right in.
Who did your landscape plan?
That was done by,
Graydon.
An engineering firm?
Graydon Engineering?
Yeah, they're like gears.
Graydon.
Okay, I'm going to jump back again. Kenny, the vehicle lift system is called a Cherish parking system of some sort. Have you used one of these before? Have you dealt with one of these before?
I haven't myself. It's a 4-stack lift. You have flat plates that just lift up. There's minimal
When you say-
horizontal structure on them.
You say minimal. My minimal is maybe not as minimal as your minimal.
Do we have a cut sheet of that pulled up?
Yeah.
We can show you the cut sheet.
Okay.
If you've seen around 285, I think there's one on 400 where the BMWs are building the little tower and they're putting the cars in them. That's a Cherish system.
I'm thinking of Carvana.
I can't picture which one Carvana.
That's the old GM plant on
Yes,
285.
that's a Cherish system in there.
But you can
It's
see
straight up and down. They don't,
But did they have people up there walking those cars and looking at them?
I don't think they do. I think that's
So
just a
there's gotta-
staff thing.
Can I email it to you so you can pull it up?
Sure.
Yeah. Does it, can I just
Oh, we're
ask,
not on that.
I mean, what is the concern with
yeah,
people
yeah.
walking around and looking?
I'm not concerned with people walking around looking. I'm concerned with what you're eventually going to see through the glass. And is it nice looking? Is it pleasing? Is it stacks of cans?
I'm like,
Is
are the
it-
people pleasing?
Well, no, but I mean, there's railing, there's got to be
I see
some
what you're saying.
structure, there's
Okay.
got to be a lift structure, there's got to be hydraulic, it's a giant elevator maybe is what it is. So and there's some structure to it. So I'm just trying to figure out
We have a cut sheet. that we're-
how much you're looking at through this clear glass window. There's lights got to have to happen, I guess, and there's, are there,
Yeah, is it gonna be lit like all night long? Is it, the lights go
I
off?
would think the lights are almost gonna have to mount to the sidewalls. Mostly because that Cherish system pancakes.
So you don't see,
So they won't be
It's
able to
not-
really to mount anything underneath the lifts themselves because the top one's gonna pancake all the way down to drive right off.
so is there a recessed slab to fit everything into?
We just sent it to you.
Okay.
The
All right,
plates
sorry.
that the cars drive on are very minimal. You just drive right up onto them and then they come up. And they're not more than,
2
it's
inches.
symmetric and it doesn't give us
Not
that
one
dimension,
underneath
but
one.
it's not like a big beam system.
So the posts are all like,
Yeah, so there's
you know,
a
W
corner-
flange.
a corner post in each corner and the lift itself.
And the system's up at the top. I think that works the,
so the one on the left, is that like if you're looking down on it? Is that what it looks like? Is that?
Yeah, this would be one looking down, so it's got the posts on the corners.
Okay.
And ours is a little bit different because we originally wanted to enter from the north, but we couldn't do that the way the site was. So we're having this modified, so they're actually 2 deep. You're not gonna see all 4 of them in a line. You see the first 2, the second 2 are behind.
So it would look pretty similar to this, right?
Right.
But there are handrails involved in it.
They're
too.
there's no walking on them.
Just at the end.
Catwalk we have.
Where's the catwalk though?
Goes right between them. And we also brought the catwalk out so it goes as close as we could to the
Right
the
there.
lift.
All right, so there are handrails on that
Yeah.
catwalk then?
And those are those kind of doors that like automatically close, like they're You see them on mechanical lifts and stuff.
To answer your other question, the lighting will be mounted on the exterior wall pointing in to highlight the car and put that on timer, so it's not.
Okay, so it won't like at 2 a.m., you're not gonna see, yeah, okay.
All right, it's on timers.
Is that part of code,
My
Brett?
timers always work.
Timing of lights or anything like that?
No.
Can it be conditioned?
It could be. They're also gonna have to watch the foot candles
Leading up to that too.
because you have a property line right here, and you have to be 0-foot candles at the property line.
Right. So you gotta turn off the lights. They can't have the lights.
So the lights are gonna have to be pretty focused. I think you can do that pretty easily with LEDs and shields and stuff.
It seems like as you're shining away from the property line.
Yeah, you're shining away, so it's not really gonna push a lot out, but it will some, but I think back, I don't think it'll be a great concern. I think what it would be just seeing that it's over there is, because it's gonna be open glass with the lights. You're gonna see it's over there, but I don't think it's gonna necessarily violate the night sky ordinance where it crosses the property line with that. You're also gonna have up here, you're gonna have a developed parking lot that'll probably have some parking lot lighting in it.
I thought there was gonna be another building in there somewhere.
I think the original plan
Yes.
was to be one in there. Do you know, Chris, is Michelle still on?
No, we're not doing that.
So that center building?
Some sort of tower or something.
Yeah.
In fact, it was gonna be.
There was a building back, right
Yeah.
Like right in
on the
there?
property line, right behind N2P. There was a
right
little
here?
building that we were gonna do there over there, yeah. Kind of funny shape,
Yeah, it was,
similar,
very-
triangular.
So this is gonna be mostly parking lot and other stuff, dumpster enclosure, that kind of stuff that,
And a garden. Yeah.
that's right.
Parking
He had a
and
garden
raised
back there,
garden.
yeah. So there'll be some lighting back here anyway?
Not much.
Because of the parking lot.
There is egress between the two buildings too. Right down through here, we've got a common egress. So the fire truck could go ahead and go through here and come out on Marietta Street.
Here?
Right there, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Looking at the site plan, is there any stormwater detention issues that have to happen here now that it's more pervious or more impervious site?
They'll have to address that in their
Okay.
land disturbance, yeah,
Okay.
somehow. Whether it's,
Is it, okay, underground or is it,
Yeah, Michelle's putting in TBB, she's putting in like 2 feet of gravel in back there, and between what she and I are both doing, it's the same engineer, and he's calculated for all
all
that.
right. And then, like, trash or recycling, is that,
We'll use ours for what we've currently got over N2P,
okay? And then parking for this facility is,
inside the building.
well, you're gonna have people visiting, so where are they parking?
Well, I have existing parking already in N2P. I've
Okay.
got more
So-
parking there than what's
Okay,
required.
so that you're using some of that parking then for, okay.
I think the material site plan, I think it's good.
Okay, any other comments from board members at this point? Oh, is there, and I'll ask, is any comments from the public, the general public this morning on this application?
I just have one more question, and I see an AC unit on the roof, and that's got a parapet on all sides, screened from all sides?
Right?
I see the one elevation that's up on the
The mechanical
board
equipment,
there.
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah,
roof,
there's
the
a
roof plan.
diagram.
Oh, there's two rooftops.
PG one.
The roof plan,
roof
Estimate,
plan is
wait for
right
there,
here.
yeah, there's two.
You have parapet height here? compared to ceiling?
On the very
A roof?
first sheet, on the left side, there's a section diagram showing the sight lines from Roswell.
West elevation with the.
Over there in the
Yeah, I agree. It needs to be, this part's being enhanced.
We got the roof at 30 and, oh, that's the lower.
Yeah, no.
I want to see that parapet.
So but this parapet continues on this side?
Yes, yeah. Parapet
Okay,
is
you're
on-
just not showing the parapet here so you can see the unit?
It's a section.
It's a
It's a
section
section.
drawing?
Yes.
Okay.
And you won't be able to see it from neighboring buildings, second story?
I didn't prove that out, but we're so close to them and the parapet is 4 feet tall. We're taller than them. I don't see any way they could do that.
Yeah, 30 and 34, it's, I mean,
I wouldn't think you could, but
No.
just asking.
Okay. Any more questions?
Well, so is the intent, let me go back to this, is the intent to display only cars in this facility?
Vehicles.
Yes, vehicles.
Vehicles.
What's a vehicle?
Some of them are small, I
Is
don't
it-
know what you call them, pickup trucks?
Vans.
The little things that you have?
They're the ones like at the.
Like the
farmer's
VW
market.
vans.
They're parked,
Right.
they're parked there right now.
A motorized working
Well,
vehicle.
I'm thinking that you can have motorcycles, you can have boats, you can have RVs, you can have, I mean,
I think
there's,
you
all-
get an RV.
well, I'm just asking.
That's use again. We
The
can't-
lifts are 8 feet tall, so nothing taller than 8 feet, and, four-wheeled, the way the lifts work, four-wheeled, consumer.
Compact SUV.
Okay. Yeah, you could pull a horse buggy in there or something.
Well,
don't
I
know,
think
that's
that would be
that's
cool to
four
see a horse
wheels.
buggy,
Yeah, it would.
personally.
So are we ready for a motion?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on 119 Roswell Street that we approve the site plan. End of motion.
Second.
All right, so this is approval of the site plan. So we have a motion by Ms. Rocco, a second by Ms. Palmer. Okay, any further comments or questions about the motion on the floor? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition, motion passes, and so that's the site plan.
I would like to make another motion on 119 Roswell Street that we approve the elevations and materials as presented today. End of motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Rocco, a second by Ms. Palmer.
Can we,
Elevations and materials
Are
as
we in
presented.
discussion?
As presented today, yes, and now is there some discussion on the motion?
we were going to, the windows on the stairwell side, which is north elevation, we were going to put mullions in there to match the mullions in the showroom area.
Yes, I missed that. So do I need to do a friendly amendment on that?
Or he would do.
Or would Roger?
I
As
think,
presented, we discussed it, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't presented, it was as
As
discussed.
discussed, yeah.
so it'll be
So
a
do
friendly
it.
amendment.
Friendly amendment, yes, because I agree with that.
Okay.
Yes.
So you say, do you?
All right, what's somebody craft?
Friendly amendment is for the windows on the north elevation where the stairwell is, the clear
North.
windows would have mullions similar to the mullions on the display area for the cars.
This is the north elevation.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so a friendly amendment has been proposed by Mr. Brown. Ms. Rocco, do you accept the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Palmer, since you seconded the motion, do you accept the friendly amendment?
I do.
Okay, very good. So the friendly amendment has been accepted. All right. Any other comments or questions? I still would like to see the south elevation addressed a little bit more architecturally and be using at least a portion of the brick as it wraps around the building
I agree, as well as the west elevation.
in the west.
I'm okay with the south. I think the west would cover anything you might see. I think the other elevation towards EA Homes, you're not going to see much because of the building. And yes, it's taller, but you're not going to see much from the roads. That's my view.
Agree.
Okay, any other comments or questions about the motion? All right, there being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All opposed, raise their hand. 1, 2, 3. All right, we have a tie, so the motion does not pass.
6.
Where's Richard when you need him?
Where is it?
Richard Owens. that's-
Or alternates.
Or alternate, yeah.
Okay. So that motion did not pass. All right. Anybody want to offer a,
I'll craft one for landscape since it's part of, oh, we gotta keep going with this one?
well, we can keep going with this one. I think the next option is to defer and let the applicant come back and maybe incorporate the friendly amendment and maybe some comments from board members.
I can do that.
Okay.
I'll offer a motion that we defer the elevations and materials based on comment and the friendly amendment in the motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Corkle, a second by Mr. Brown. Comments or questions?
Well, I think it would probably be helpful to clarify what our concerns are. I mean, I'm not sure, frankly, how my concern gets addressed, right? Because it's fundamentally opposed to what the applicant wants to do, right? I think what he's doing will look really cool. My concern is the aesthetic of this building and what could happen in the future with these big glass panels with car lifts behind it and what could be put on there. What he's planning to do is fine, right? I think attractive cars, I don't have a big issue. I'm not totally clear what the lift looks like and the catwalks and what you're gonna see, but the main concern is just, what could be behind those big clear windows in the future. I don't know how to address, because, if you make it so you can't see, then that's fundamentally opposed to what the applicant wants to do. If this was on Mansell Road or, West Side Parkway down near the Kohler, I mean, there are other areas where I think this type of thing fits better than in downtown.
Well, we do have a downtown overlay district too that we've got to follow architectural guidelines for too. So we're trying to make sure those get, but I understand where you're coming from, right? Okay, any other?
I don't know if you guys have the same concern or different concerns, or?
I'm
gonna
limited as far as the glass, what you see through it, and the use. I'm just bound by board requirements. But again, I deal a lot with HOAs, and I deal a lot with property to property to property. So again, I'm not just concerned with what you see from the street. I'm concerned with how close these are on the west side and the south side to those neighboring properties and what they're left looking at, with 5 feet of landscape in between. And again, it's that and what you do see from the street is that fenestration. That's my biggest thing. It's just 35 feet of straight brick or siding. So I'm like a movie screen.
So rather than deferring it, do we want to try to make a motion to do it, or do you want to let them, because they could still come back and change it if they didn't agree with your motion, but they would go today, if it get approved, they'd go away with an approval. If they didn't want to do that, then that'd be their option to come back and say, you know what, we've studied that and it's not really going to work, but here's what we want to do.
What if we, the west side, which is really the back, right, in a way, the west side, make that all brick, and do you, like you suggested, with some of the window treatments, which is fake window treatments or whatever?
The west side is brick.
Not the whole west side.
Yes.
There's
This is the only thing that's west, really.
That's only west side? Well, then,
half of it's brick.
The rest of it is the east side. I'm fine then.
It's the south elevation that's entirely cement.
Which again, I don't think you're gonna see a heck of a lot of it.
And I think you're going to see some of it, at least from Roswell Street. So that's why I was proposing turn the corner with it.
You do that. I'd be on board with turning corners.
And then implement your kind of blocked in arched windows back there too, to keep that same architectural theme flowing on that.
Oh, you mean those brick inserted?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'd be fine with that.
I think we've had discussion, and I think the applicant's going to have to take into consideration what we've talked about today, get with his design professionals, and come back, because I think we can.
Warehouses all the time had areas that were once doors and windows that get bricked
Right.
over. And that's what we're talking about.
I think so.
That's what I'm hearing here.
And they weren't necessarily cement fiber panels either.
That's the other part of the struggle.
So
Yes.
it was brick. Now, it could have been painted brick, but Okay, we have a motion on the floor to defer at this point. Any other comments or questions? All right, there being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, and this motion is to defer exterior elevations of materials. So all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? All opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, okay. Motion passes to defer. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I'll do one more for landscape.
Oh, all right.
Regarding Sedg Investments LLC landscape that we defer until I've had a better chance to actually review the plans and the motion. So we've had a better chance to review the plans.
Yeah, what is this? What do you think, the whole board?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, who seconded that? Oh, okay. Motion by Mr. Corkle, second by Ms. Palmer to defer the landscaping. Any other comments or questions about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition. Okay, motion passes 6-0. Very good. All right, Kenny, thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it. Okay. Our next applicant this morning is Food Terminal. Food Terminal. Okay, 11:20.
Can you guys see it?
Okay, let's see, not yet.
Not yet.
All right.
Now you have to do something to get it to display out.
Oh, I already got it on, but let me just laptop. Hello guys, my name is Tao Lin. I'm the partial owner and the design director of our team, Sweet Hut Group. So we manage two brands, the Sweet Hut Bakery and Cafe and also the Food Terminal, which is the Asian fusion, specializing in Malaysian cuisine. So for this project, located at 6360 North Point Parkway, is a food terminal concept.
Okay, very good.
Yep. Apple TV. Sorry, some technical difficulty. We're gonna switch to a laptop.
Okay, very good.
Streaming. Instead of printing out renderings, we brought the digital model here so we can rotate and see different perspectives to better understand how we come up with a decision.
Okay, good.
All right.
It's always helpful.
Yep. Is it on there?
No, you'll see it on
Oh,
that
okay.
screen up there when it comes up, so you need to do whatever to make your display go out.
Okay. Oh, sure, yeah, go ahead. Thank you. So I'll brief a little bit on the venture. So,
Tao Lin, make sure you're speaking into the
sorry.
microphone, so yes.
Yeah. So when we first looked at the space, we feel like the original building definitely needs some work to actually turn it around because it's a red brick building with a lot of like rustic features that's kind of outdated. So for our concept is actually more modern and industrial, which wouldn't really fit on the exterior perspective. But what we do like about the project is that the location is the kitchen is being set up like very nicely. So the layout of the kitchen can save us a lot of like upfront costs for bringing our business inside. So we just need to focus on the interior decoration and the overall floor plan. So that's why we made a decision on jumping into this project. And there are actually one more thing. I think Brett actually kind of mentioned a little bit about what we did, other than intending to paint the exterior wall, add a little bit of the wood-looking texture to the side entrance, which is now the front entrance of our business. But there's a little bit more, which is, so on the existing door, the patio door that actually leads out to the patio, we're switching the location of that towards another window. So they're swapping locations, which by doing that, we have to remove some of the existing brick and add some of the replacement brick to, the other portion of the wall, which will make matching the brick very difficult for the time being, because it's a very old brick. We're going to be having a hard time to trying to, match and see something that's similar.
Okay, why don't we, now that the overhead is pulled up,
Okay.
let's use that and tell us what kind of modifications you're making to the exterior of the building.
That microphone's on over there, so you can sit down over there and,
Oh, okay.
yep.
So let me remind you guys, originally this is how the building looked like,
Okay.
with a little stairs.
Kind of the stair step front.
Stair step at the,
Okay.
at the front, yeah, facing the North Point Parkway. And that's like the existing patio space with some of the, like the cover. And that's the existing side entrance with the awning, orange, like arch awning to it.
I think it was very faded.
Yeah.
Sun
Yeah.
bleached.
Yeah, definitely very outdated. So we wanted to really bring it up, the space again, but not to like heavily modify or tear down or anything to that level. So we wanted to be able to add some element to it that ultimately turn it around to make it more of a nice looking and modern architectural that fits our business, and also will be very appealing to the overall environment. So that's why we came up with the design.
So let's start with the front of the building, which would be the
Sure.
North Point Parkway
Right.
elevation.
So what you see at the front here is actually going to be only used as an emergency exit, because that portion is going to be used just for a party room. So usually it will be closed, but for a special occasion or when the business gets very busy, we'll open the door from the inside. So it's more like a extension to the interior space from the inside perspective. So people don't actually go in from that door, although it's facing the, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. But that faces North Point Parkway.
Yeah, that's the side that's facing North Point Parkway. And as you can see, we already, from this model, we already took down whatever that was already on it. The rustic looking awnings are all gone, and we're adding something that's more industrial, just to keep it interesting. And then we kind of flash off the whole face, so that the line looks cleaner. And then what you see here on the side is actually going to be our main entrance that lets people get into the restaurant. And I've got some material samples.
Just like that too.
Off the.
Why don't you start down there with Ms. Rocco?
Perfect, thank you.
So it's a trespass panel that is basically a high-end material that you just set up once and then do it all. You don't need to maintain, paint, or do any coatings to it. The way that it's designed for weatherproofing. So it's got its own like structural to it already. So we don't have to think too much about it. So what we plan to do is to add this portion to the existing brick wall that leads to the front entrance to light it up.
Can you show me where you're putting that material on your rendering,
sure.
please?
It's right here.
That's the main entrance, right?
Yeah, that's the main entrance.
That's your main entrance. You only have one door, though. Shouldn't you have?
It's actually a double door from the inside. It's a one single
No,
door.
but usually you have two doors where people can go in one side and out the other way. This is just one door that they share going in and out?
Yeah, it is. But it's a pretty wide door. I believe it's 42 inches.
With COVID, you don't go in and out, you wait 6 feet apart and then.
Yeah, that'd take forever to get in and out.
You hit the automatic door open button with your elbow.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. There would be room to put a double door if you wanted to.
Right.
Is there currently a double door or is it a single door?
Currently, it's a single door, but with your permission, we can, easily convert that into a double door just for the ease of, in and out. From the model, we're just doing whatever that's, more on the minimum side, so it doesn't get too much.
Yeah, there's a vestibule.
And,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and we are raising
There's
the
a
height.
vestibule
Has a
inside.
single door
Oh,
too.
oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and as you can see, for this section, the height is raised up a little bit taller. So,
I like, yeah, I
symbolizes.
like the warmth of that.
I guess design-wise, how do you, if you look at the building,
Right.
I start walking towards the front, right? It kind of looks like that, because that's the double doors. It
Right.
looks like that's your main.
So what's interesting about this location is that although like right now we see the whole building from this angle, views automatically that should be the front entrance, but that side is facing the street, and actually there's only like 4 or 5 parking spaces over there. So usually people by default will park by where the side entrance is, and then they will see, and then we'll make sure that people can see from that side.
Use the side entrance for Fuddruckers too, didn't they?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what we're trying to do on North Point, right? With the walkability and sidewalks, and hopefully someday people are not driving, they're walking
Oh.
as well, right? So I'm not telling you change your front entrance to
Right.
the front. I'm just thinking
I think
make it more obvious that's your main entrance as opposed to.
So for our previous business setup, some of the setups are not, this is our third location, by the way. So we have 2 more food terminal that's been set up, one in Beaufort Highway in Chambly, the other one's in West Midtown. So for the West Midtown location, actually the side door is actually facing the street, which is more visible, but that's not where people actually go in. That's the entrance that people actually go in located by where the parking deck is. So it's closer and it's easier, but definitely not for pedestrian. So what we do is we do like a vinyl decal that direct people towards the main entrance on the other side, and then the door is only out only, not for anyone to get in. So they can always just push out. If there's a party they want to just get out from there, they can kind of just.
So this is the aerial image of the building. So I think if in the future, these guys decide they want to get these trees and take care of that landscaping, get that wide sidewalk, I think what you do is you connect the sidewalk out here to the sidewalk right here with striping.
So don't they have to put the sidewalk out there? I thought we said last time when they did something to the building, then we could ask them to put the sidewalk.
They don't have to. If they don't do these trees out here, they wanted to, so they wanted to get rid of the trees for the visibility, but they didn't want to do the sidewalk. The sidewalk is dependent on this visibility and stuff.
I'm not concerned about the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I think this actually makes more sense, and I feel like I'm the person that always goes to the wrong entrance, and it's like, on the main entrance, go this way.
Yeah, and I think he's right. With only these 4 here, I mean, if there were parking against the front, against the building, it might be different, but
The parking is.
yeah, the parking is here. I don't think it'll be.
Katie, I bet you only do that once, though.
I do it, yes, well, I
Once
would-
at the same
I
time.
would
It takes
put
her a long
that-
time to learn.
If I'm on my phone, I'll be doing it.
I do think, though, there needs to be some thought in making the front, the actual front of the building facing the street have some elements of a front, even though it's not really your front, it's the street's front.
Okay.
So I think, and the board may talk about that, but we kind of talked in workshop about maybe bringing some of that wood element around to the front
Yes.
somehow.
Maybe the entire front below the awning.
Again, I guess what Brad has mentioned, the eco district guidelines, I'm trying to figure out how we incorporate those. In fact, one of the eco district pictures is a stair-stepped industrial building. So I know that, and they're getting rid of it, but how do you enhance that? How do you
What are
put some?
Are you, so currently the building is that stair step down, which is
Right.
Interesting. Are you adding the brick, or how are you building that up?
We're adding the brick to level the highest point of the building.
I wonder if you could add any sort of, well, I'm not an architect, so I'm not.
Corbelline.
Yeah,
at the-
something up there, since you're messing with it anyway.
Right.
Something at the
Designing
parapet.
that in such a way where it's more appealing. I love the side, which is now your new entrance.
Right.
But it is a bit of a struggle looking at the front.
Okay.
It's, and I get you're trying to go for the modern look and
Right.
whatnot. But, I think that you could make some minor changes and it would really make it stand out, especially, and that's a prominent location.
Right.
And you want people to just be like,
Yeah.
"What's that
Yeah,
building?
definitely.
I wanna go there, right?
Right.
I think it's the doors. The doors for me.
Well, I think they could enhance the doors. I mean, you don't want to make it look like your front, but you can
There-
just, something
maybe
besides
some of
store,
that extra-
something
You guys
besides
may,
storefront doors.
Yeah, you guys may have anyway, there was several staff comments about bringing the yellow color to those doors.
We said the same thing.
Yeah, there was probably all of us, when we had our staff meeting about it, was, we were thinking that the front needed something. And maybe with something at the top and then highlight the doors, maybe that's enough.
That might pull it all together, actually.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Are you talking about like the yellow,
Like the yellow from your sign,
right,
bring that down and
And that-
make those storefront doors.
right.
That makes me feel like that's now the front.
Really highlighting the.
Well, yeah, yes.
Now Katie's definitely going in the wrong door.
Now she's really going in the wrong door.
I missed it, sorry, I can only focus on one thing. These yellow, are those actually gonna be yellow?
Yeah, it's gonna be yellow.
So, bringing some of that color to the front
Right.
would just really,
Yeah, so our, actually I tried that while we were messing around with the planning, but then we realized one thing is, because of the trees that's already on the, on the sideway, people barely see our signage. That's why we're trying to just go bright. Usually we have like the backlit black color for the terminal sign, but because of the building, we're trying to paint it dark grayish color, which is already pretty dark tone. So we wanted to be able to, brighten it up a little bit. So after that, if we put the yellow awnings on it, all of a sudden, the most attracting point is no longer your signage, it's actually the awning, because the color is so bright that, in a way, like, so from the design perspective, usually we're trying to use a background to make your main object pop.
So has there been any movement with the landlord on that front
Right.
landscaping? I think,
and he might be confused.
Yeah, we actually asked Bonnie, which is the representative from the landlord's, they say they were trying to get it worked out and was not approved. That's what she said.
What?
She said she applied for it, but it wasn't approved, so.
are you Jane? Okay.
Yeah.
Come up to the podium there, and
Yeah,
I had some conversations with Jane
Okay,
about that, and it's not that this board didn't approve it,
right,
but what the landlord did not want to do is the sidewalk at the street. All they wanted to do is remove the trees.
oh,
They have to go hand in hand.
oh,
You remove the trees
And
to
the
get
sidewalk.
a better visibility out there, better trees, what our North Point guideline
Right.
wants.
right,
That includes the sidewalk.
yeah, that makes sense.
So,
Got you,
Yeah,
okay.
they actually sent out like a modification to it. I'm not sure if you received the modification to
to the landscape,
to the landscape.
I haven't.
Oh, okay, so, I'll probably forward it to you. I'm not sure, I would assume that she already sent it to you.
Okay, so they want to do the sidewalk out there and stuff?
She wants to do the
I'm not sure. They show up orange.
tree or something. They didn't want to change to the.
No, they have to do the sidewalk, along with the tree, not just the tree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can't just do trees.
Yeah,
We can discuss that offline, but we saw that as an issue as well.
yeah.
So I thought it was going to get handled by you guys and the landlord.
Right, yeah, that's what
So
we're
I think we
trying-
need to work together and get the
Right.
landlord to do it.
Okay, yeah, great, thank you.
I would like to clarify my comments.
Yes.
I would not recommend the awning on the front being yellow.
Right.
I would recommend the front doors
Mhm.
being maybe a wood material.
Wood, yeah,
something
yeah,
unique.
right.
And I think it would actually make your building stand out more from the road
Right.
versus blending in.
Okay,
At this
yeah.
point, I think it could be blending in more,
Right,
but I would not recommend the front awning
yeah.
yellow. I just
Oh,
wanted to.
yeah, thank you,
I love
yeah,
the side ones,
yeah.
but I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, so if
I
we're
agree.
to do something to this entrance, that's definitely my,
Make it
yeah.
pop a little bit more.
my-
You're
my
calling the
direction.
side awnings yellow? They look orange.
Well,
They're yellow.
it's yellow.
Are
On the
you-
screen, it looks orange, but on here, it's yellow.
It's yellow,
Right.
it's,
So
yeah.
it's probably a
Yeah, it's like a screaming,
rendering.
yeah, it's a screening,
We've seen those before.
yeah.
Well, if you incorporated some wood on the front, which is not the front
Right.
somehow,
Yeah.
whether maybe it's below the awning all the way across to break it up and keep the awning the color it is.
Say that again?
You know the wood they have on the side entry?
Right,
Put it in the front too.
the wood.
Wood below the awning, not the whole
Add some
front.
wood element to the
Just-
front, yeah.
Then you're adding some wood element to the front.
What would that look like with yellow, and then not do yellow doors?
Yeah, not do yellow doors. I
Well,
think
but
yellow
the
just
door-
makes it more of attraction that is the entry.
The,
And that's something on the parapet.
but they do still need to be different doors. I mean, these are, just basic storefront-looking doors. I think they should be more decorative doors. than
Yeah,
this.
but not real pronounced, because again, it's going to attract everyone to it.
I mean, the other option is to keep it like this and have the doors, the wooden, like that. That's another option,
Yeah,
but.
doesn't add enough wood, I don't think, but to that.
I just don't know what, just adding that wood on that surround, how much of a difference it's gonna make. And I get the concern, and that is a bit of a problem, that now people are gonna think that's the entrance. However, when they come in the parking lot, it's gonna be pretty obvious where the front is, cause they're not gonna be
Yeah.
driving past the front of the building. So it really is a aesthetic thing more
Right.
than location. Cause I
Right.
think once people pull in, they're gonna see, oh, this is the entrance. Because they're gonna look for handicap parking spots, which I just learned.
Well, I think what we can do here is, obviously, they have to come back with landscaping, right?
They don't have to come back for landscape.
Oh, that's only, you're going to work that out?
Well, if they
Okay.
change.
Well, they may have to come back if that all happens, but currently they do not.
Well, I think we're good with the sides. It's just have the applicant come back with something in the front to bring in some eco-district elements.
I'm gonna chime in here, and I think painting the brick all the same color has really whitewashed everything, and that's not the right word, has
Blackwashed.
has gray washed everything to just, there's no character. It's lost a lot of character. And how do we, is it another material we bring into this? We're in the eco district, folks. This is supposed to be an exciting building.
It's a material thing to me.
Yeah.
And so how do we,
I like that, I like that wood.
you've seen the guidelines, right?
Mine
I mean, how do we,
front.
some of the pictures in here, and how do we incorporate some of that stuff?
How about, could we make that, instead of having that modern, a little more modern steel looking awning across the front, what if that were that faux wood material? It'd look like a big beam basically sitting there, and then, I'm gonna go back to it again, because I think it was a really good idea.
Right.
Bring the yellow off the sign down just to the doors.
Right. I can,
I think that makes it, I agree, it needs something. Yeah, it needs something at the top. It needs
Something
a
at the
brick
top.
cornice or something at the top. Something to do different with that awning. That's the only place you've got that kind of square, plain awning. That's the only one. So maybe if that's wood, then do just the doors.
I'm not good on the door yellow.
Well, I think they can do some creative with the
Yeah,
doors.
go to the eco-district and.
I think that
bring some
brings,
of that-
I think that brings the eclectic, remember eclectic is in
That's the word.
the
yes.
guidelines, eclectic, I think that brings it to it. It brings it
How familiar
fun.
are you with
Oh,
the
yellow brings
North
color.
Point design guidelines?
You have a copy of these?
yeah,
Yeah.
we have one.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Yep.
Okay.
I think something
That's
more
what
than
we're
just the
tasked
wood.
with.
Right,
Something else
yeah.
that you
Bringing
could bring
some
in
of
there.
that into
Right.
this.
Yeah, I got you, I got
I'm
you.
not smart enough to figure that out.
We know that.
Delay them, would it delay you much to come back next month with a redesign of the front?
Sure, yeah.
Moving forward?
Okay,
So let's defer.
Are you able to?
yeah,
Okay.
that's fine, that's totally fine.
You're using the existing windows and doors in the front, right?
Yeah,
Not changing any of that?
Except for this one, where you guys can see. from the model. So
side, okay.
originally, the one on the very left hand is the door that gets out. But since now we're setting it up as a patio, as a party room section, so people don't usually go there to go to the patio. So we have to change the location of the door to replace with one of the window that's on the right-hand side, which is right next to the main entrance. That makes more sense.
Yeah, so that's the only thing they're doing is just swapping.
Right, kind of swap them around. And I actually do have another material to show you. So the patio roof that you guys see is actually a Solora adjustable patio roof. Yeah, it opens and closes by a switch. Yeah, so that way.
Makes it rainproof,
Yeah,
correct?
rainproof and snowproof.
Still sun, that's an excellent idea.
Right, so during the winter, we can really close it up and then just bring more business to the,
So
Yeah.
that patio now is not, is it?
It doesn't
planned
have
to be
anything.
Closed or
No, right now it's, let me show you.
open, right?
Yeah, existing.
It's just open concrete.
Right, just like this right now.
Okay, so there's another opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Those posts have the opportunity to become something with more fenestration to it, another
Right.
material as it meets the ground, something
Right.
thicker, something
Yeah.
more substantial. You have an
Right.
opportunity to work with it there to enhance that elevation as well.
Mm-hmm. And which those could easily be done. The only thing right now is that it's built by a contractor that supports the material, like the roof. So the posts and everything. So those are pretty standard. What we can do is after they've done with the structural, we can wrap around it with the design language that fits better with.
Even if those posts are different colors somehow, or wrap them in.
Wrap it in this.
Something to, again, give a little vertical change.
Right, and I wish they do have like more colors for us to choose from, but basically they have like a cream or like beige, and so the dark chocolate is already the closest to our.
Mr. Chair, go ahead.
Before we have a motion, is there any public comment on this application? Anybody from the general public wish to comment? All right, there be none. All right, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Chairman, regarding Food Terminal 6360 North Point Parkway, I make the motion that we defer the application with the applicant to come back at the next meeting with incorporating more of the eco-district materials to the front and possibly the side in the motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Corkle. Any further comments or questions about the motion? There being none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 6-0. All right. Thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it. We'll see you next month.
All right.
We're very excited you're coming back.
All right. Thank you, guys.
And when you come back, bring a yellow sample of your
the
yellow color.
fabric?
Yeah, whatever the color is.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So our next meeting is going to be Friday, October 15th. So that's the third Friday of the month. So,
Okay.
all right, look forward to seeing you.
So that means all things are still in the pending mode, right? We can't do anything, even structurally or anything.
Work with Mr. Brett on.
Okay. Got you. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out from the time perspective.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next applicant this morning is Alpharetta Town Commons. Come on down, please. Give me a second. Okay, all right, good, thanks, Frank. Okay, if you'll, looks like you're getting booted up here, or,
Yeah, is that working, Brett?
Pretty image on the screen.
It's not me.
let's see, he's going to,
It's not working. All right, one more time.
Well, the air conditioning's working, so we got one thing going for
It's
it.
been working great today.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, really.
We've had a lot of
Tell you
issues.
that it's broken, so what we're getting is what.
Is that gonna be upgraded?
I heard it come on,
yeah,
and I feel it now.
or maybe it's just a fan.
I've been
That's
pleasantly.
All right, we're ready to start, Ernie.
Still? It's, should be working.
And yours is, what we're seeing is right up there too.
Yeah.
I guess I have to.
Did I hit enter? Thanks.
Red, have you turned it off and turned it back on again?
Yeah.
Then if you haven't
Wonder
done that.
is the cord broken?
Yeah.
Everybody's been trying to use that HDMI. Do you have another one that,
I don't.
another connection?
Do you mind if I assist?
Yeah, not a problem, not at all.
Just make sure. This is feeling really loose, so let's. Do we?
Wait.
Yeah. Is there anything? You want me to keep pulling?
Yeah. It's all plugged in, so.
All plugged in. This is on. Okay, awesome.
I don't. Unless we can do it wirelessly.
Here's one. Does this one work?
You can try that over there.
I'm gonna try this one too.
Maybe.
This. Does this work? I'll unplug that one.
You wanna try this one?
No, I would try that one.
Okay, we'll try that.
Sorry, guys.
And there's a couple of things over there, Tim, so once you guys, what you think it's going, let me know,
Give it, I mean, should be.
There we go.
All right. Wasn't me.
I can sit there and that microphone's live, so you actually get to sit down.
Oh, nice. We're gonna be casual today.
So Tim, we take a lunch break at 12 o'clock. However, we're going to try to avoid that if we
You want us to go quick?
Yes, how about that? I like that.
Okay.
All right. And I've got to leave at 12:15 too, so if we can.
Gotcha. 'Cause Trey, I think, has to leave at 1 as well, so we'll go.
We'd like to be done before then, so.
We'll move it along. We're here to talk about 37 Old Roswell, which I think everybody knows as La Casa. I'm Tim Vaccaro from Placemaker Design Architects. Trey Adams is here for B+C Studios, and Bob Rothman is here, who's the owner of the property. As I mentioned, it's La Casa. La Casa is vacating the premises at the end of this month. So after numerous years of operation, they will no longer be occupying the building. So our effort here is to advance from a landlord standpoint, if you will, doing new things to the building and really trying to update its character to fit in with a lot more of what downtown has become since La Casa opened many years ago. When we're talking about things here, we're not talking about anything tenant-specific, so we won't get into signage or furnishings or the intended use of the building, other than to say we're providing new restaurant space with the goal of attracting a new, vibrant restaurant to take the building. Let me back up. So just to walk everybody through, I think everybody knows this is the existing building, which was a house built probably in the 40s that was converted into the restaurant.
Sorry, we're just hearing some clicking noise on the. James is here to save the day for us. All right.
Fix it all.
All right.
I'll keep going, though.
Tim, keep going, yes. We apologize.
A house that was built in the 40s that, again, we're not trying to change the house significantly other than sort of update it to make it a more attractive building, both as a user or for the next user as well as in general. So here's kind of a quick site plan showing how the house sits on the existing property. And as you can see, we are adjacent to one of the city's small little parks at the corner of Roswell Street and Old Roswell, where there's a couple of trellises, a fountain, but is, quite frankly, very underutilized space. Other than an occasional person walking through that area, nothing really happens on that corner. And, the way that the existing house sits, it really addresses Old Roswell Street and does nothing really to address Roswell Street proper, where actually, all the people are coming from. So our plan is to reorganize things a little bit, if you will, to through some very minor expansions, both update the character of the building as well as make it a little bit more feasible for the new restaurant tenant. So to quickly walk through here, what we're doing is there's an existing open covered patio on the right-hand side of the plan that we want to enclose, sort of give it the enclosed porch feel, if you will. Across the front, there's an open deck where the front door currently is, and we want to put a small addition there. Kind of, again, give it really the front porch that the building never had and provide that as an enclosed area, which also becomes the new front entry. Then the biggest sweeping change is the new deck that we want to put on the left-hand side of the plan, which is a very organic shape, partly to work with the existing trees that we have along the property line. Our goal is to not really affect any of the trees as much as possible. So we're proposing a deck-like structure that we can stay out of the root zone with the trees. We've already had some conversations with the city, and David Shostak and crew feel like what we're proposing here is a viable solution that they can get behind.
Tim, let me interrupt a second. Can you move your phone, your iPhone, a little bit away from the microphone?
That was doing it?
No? Okay, sorry.
Nope.
Sorry, we're trying different
That's fine.
things to.
Go ahead. And also, with this sort of organic shape of the deck, again, we're really trying to provide something very interesting there on the corner to grab people's attention, as well as, take advantage of the outdoor space and, if you will, flow out to the corner to engage and invigorate that corner. We want to pull out a lot of the old concrete sidewalks that were there in the front that don't really lead to or from anything anymore, as well as provide a connection to the city's park that doesn't currently exist there now. There's some stairs off the side of the existing deck that just lead down to grade, and then you just kind of find your way over to where the city sidewalk is. The other little exterior change to the building is we want to incorporate a new indoor-outdoor bar. So to, again, take advantage of that patio area. The covered portion remains covered. The rest of it is completely open. And then we put a new fire pit out there as sort of a gathering area and focal piece, if you will. Existing elevations of what the house looks like now. Not really going to spend too much time on that. It is a painted brick structure that's had numerous additions put on it over the years. And again, we really want to keep most of the house, keep its current integrity. You can see across the front where we're adding the new porch feature, as well as enclosing the existing side porch. And then on the southwest elevation, you kind of see the character of the bar, which would be a wooden board and batten look up on the back wall underneath the existing covered patio area, the extent of the deck that we're building on the side, and then we've sort of dashed in where you'd see the fire pit. Northwest elevation, not really much changing there other than seeing the two windows that are infilled where the porch was. And then there's an existing door on the side there that we'll need to use for egress. So we're just putting a new staircase back to where that door is. Right now it just opens out and it's a big first step. I'll come back to that so we can sort of move through the character of what we're looking at. Here's what we're proposing it would look like at the end. We want to repaint the structure with a historic blue color from the historic palette, do the trim in a white, and then the windows all get painted black, and I can pass.
That'll be great. Yeah, please do some of the color samples. Yes.
Keeping pace with it?
You know, again, with what we're trying to do with the infill of the porches is really convey that character that it has been a porch that's infilled rather than trying to make it look like it was originally a part of a building. It should look like an addition. It should look like a modification for how this house, if you will, has evolved over the years. So we're trying to do that. You know, the other real component to it that we want to present today that I think also really enhances things, and I'll let Trey obviously talk about this a lot more, is we really want to dial up the landscaping around the building. What's there right now, there's a lot of existing things that are sort of, you know, grown up and infilled nicely, but there's a lot of areas that really are sort of overlooked. So we have a whole new landscaping plan planted all the way out, quite frankly, past our property line to the edge of the city park so that it feels contiguous all the way over there. We did run both renderings because there's a lot of trees on the site, so we wanted to give you the character of what you would see with the trees as well as being able to focus in a little bit on what we're presenting, so we pulled the trees out as well. So there's sort of the view from Old Roswell Street where you can see the new deck off of the side with the sort of sculptural, if you will, fire pit sort of collection point.
Tim, what are those 3 poles that are standing there for?
Well, they're
not connected to anything.
Well, those 3, you know, the tenant may want to come back at a later date and put string lights on it or something like that. So we're thinking in advance, if you will, for that happening. The new walks we're proposing, one thing we think we can do that'll be a great addition is because we're moving the deck so far west that we can extend the length from the handicap space to where the deck is, that we can get rid of the handicap ramp that's there, and what we'll do is a built-up pervious path that leads so we can get rid of handrails and whatnot, and really make it, you know, sort of the walk through the garden to get to where the deck entrance is. This would be the view from the city park that's currently there. Again, you can see we're landscaping all the way out to that edge. And then pulling all the trees out so you can get an idea of what that, you know, outdoor patio will look like from the corner. Again, the idea really trying to activate that corner and bring people out there. We've got a fantastic spot to do a really significant outdoor dining area here, and that's what we're trying to take advantage of. A little bit of a view further from the north as you approach the property. Same thing without the trees. A little bit of an overhead to kind of give you a picture of really what we're trying to do on that corner. Again, with and without the trees, so you can see the extent of it. The deck itself is, for the decking material, we're proposing using that kumaru, which is a Brazilian wood product that'll last 30 years. It'll age out to a gray. It'll still retain a little bit of the brown, but it'll fade out over time. The deck itself is just composed of simple materials. It's a 1/2-inch square picket with a painted top and bottom rail out of wood. We do have the canted posts that we want to use for sun sails as we're presenting here, but potentially tenant could use them for string lights as well. Again, really just trying to use not extravagant materials or off the wall materials. Trying to keep it and make it feel very classic, if you will. But, I'm not going to say modern because I don't think it's modern. I think it might be 1940s modern, if you will. But, something other than the normal character, something, if you will, a little bit unexpected. So we did get some comments from staff, and I do have some things we can throw here. Some of our windows did not meet the vertical orientation that code says they should. So what this slide shows is us making a couple of slight modifications to try and accommodate that. We're throwing it up as an alternate. We have no problem doing this. I think we still like what we sent in first, but again, we're happy with what we're showing here, which are very small modifications. We're moving windows, 4 to 6 inches just to change a little bit of it. It does change some of the other windows, as you can see, and force us to divide windows up a little bit more, because by fixing one window sort of puts a different window out of spec. So, and then this is the renderings adjusted to show those same changes. Again, the materials will re-roof the building with a darker shake-looking architectural asphalt shingle. The 3 paint colors we're using, the wood deck is the Kumaru, and then the sun sails we're proposing are the Sunbrella C color, which you guys have the sample in your hands. Lighting, there's really not a lot of lighting to change on the building. I think there's one wall sconce that we would end up changing, which is what we're showing here, and then we'll pull the gooseneck lights off where the signs are and replace them with something a little less stylized, I guess, if you will. Gooseneck lights don't seem to quite fit on the house, so we want something a little bit more unnoticeable, if you will.
Where are the signs at?
There are current signs on the front in the gable, and then one on the side here. So you have that one, and then that one there.
But since you don't know who the new tenant's going to be, we obviously...
Right. The lighting isn't a part of the sign, so we want to go ahead and change out and update the lighting while we can, but the signs are for a later discussion once the tenant gets on board. When we talk about changing the lights, the coach lights that are on the front of the building end up getting turned internally, so those go away naturally.
What did you say about the handicap? Because you're doing with the ramp.
So if you look here, what we're doing is, like right now, it's one of those ramps that only goes up a foot, but it's a pretty awful ramp with rails on both sides. So since we're extending the connection point over to where the deck is now, we can put a curve in that path and extend it to be a longer distance so that we can get away from 1 in 12 ADA, which requires a handrail. We can be 1 in 20 and just make it a ramp and do it out of a permeable material so that we don't have to affect the tree that it goes right around. It does, and we can meet that with what we're showing, and Trey will get in a little bit of those details on what we have here.
And that's a code issue, so certainly.
But I mean, that's a code issue that if they're showing stone, which is a picture I saw was stone.
You want to jump straight into landscape now? Let Trey talk about it.
Let's see if there's any questions from board members on the exterior elevation materials and improvements.
Well, there were just I noticed there were a number of comments from the city architect on here, and I assume you saw those?
I saw them, and...
What were your thoughts on those comments?
A lot of them were a little strange to me, if you will. I think some of the character things they were asking for on the building aren't appropriate for the style of the building. They really wanted to... I understood a lot of the comments if we were making it a traditionally detailed home, which this is not.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of the comments had to do with matching the existing Tudor arts and crafts style.
Yes, which I felt like we were. And again, we're not a true Tudor home as well. We picked up a lot of those cues, which were the stacked windows. Tudor doesn't have a lot of classic detail. I think one of the comments was like an entablature and all those things. Those don't really apply to Tudor. So they were a little confusing. But, again, I don't really think what we're doing here is out of character with what the building itself is.
I was going to say, I think the challenge is this is an old house. Now, how do you define what the style is? Is it kind of a Tudor house? I think what Tim has done is a pretty good job of trying to incorporate the Tudor craftsman style, some details in it, and I like the way that he's done the alternate for the windows to incorporate that. So my only hesitation was the sails over the patio area. Was that really... That's a modern kind of solution to a covered, outdoor patio area. How do you...
It is. I'm not going to disagree with you. We could do umbrellas, but umbrellas seem kind of predictable, if you will. Part of it is, driven by the fact that we have this curvilinear deck, and so like...
And I like that. I like the way you've done that deck and incorporated it into the, kind of the plaza area as well, and made it almost flow together rather than just be here's the city park and here's the restaurant.
Yeah, so with that curved edge on the deck, it's difficult to do a square awning or anything like that. Plus, we're really stretching out pretty far away from where the edge of the building is to get coverage on that patio.
Yes, I agree they're out of character, but I think they look good in this case. And I like that they match the building, right? So they're not like bright orange or something and standing out. They kind of blend in a little. And you get much better shade from this than umbrellas, which are splotchy shade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for down here, having a more consistent shade would make that deck more usable.
And again, I think they provide that little cool visual interest that we're really trying to do. Eclectic is something that came up in... Eclectic is something that came up in a couple of the previous presentations, and I think really that's, one thing we're trying to hone in on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, I don't think the sales necessarily are the historic district.
That's the only issue.
This is really the only place that you're gonna get that feel.
Yeah.
Other than when you're sitting there, you're not going to get that triangular, it's more minimized when you're there, but in elevation view, it's like, those don't work.
Well, and the trees that are there now are gonna,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna kind of,
Tim, I did have one question. Around the fireplace side, and it may just be a rendering thing, you've got the posts continuing up with nothing attached.
Yeah, that was a question Roger asked earlier.
Where were you? You were out. You were out.
string light.
Oh, yeah.
That's a string light. It's an Edison string light opportunity.
I do appreciate actually
Can we erase that from the record?
than just a metal
Well,
awning that everyone's doing. Or they have I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're softer too, which I think is nicer.
they're growing. I mean, that's the only rendering I printed out. So how about that? So they're growing. Yeah.
I like the organic part of it. You can see
Yeah.
the movement.
Well, the drone view might not be a problem.
I wouldn't want to do it everywhere, but I think this is the right application for it.
I'm more worried about you lighting that oak tree on fire.
Well, again, we can talk about a lot of those kind of things as a tenant comes on board. I think some outdoor landscape lighting and things like that would be fantastic here.
I think the modifications are wonderful, and I love that you're removing the dormer. I love that you're removing that because it really shows off the curve of that roof, which brings so much character to the
It looks completely tacked on now, and, we took it off and then we're trying to figure out what else we should put back there, and the answer was nothing.
Katie, you think you can find the front door on this one, or?
I know.
Let's move on, because it's getting late.
Yep.
Okay, get the tray.
For Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
I'm gonna have to.
While you're setting up, what kind of deck is that? Is that deck, is it posts?
It's going to be post.
Superstructure roof plate?
No, we're going to
Okay
do
with it?
hand-dug
Yeah.
post-point footings, and most of the deck is cantilever, so the
Your
posts
project arborist standing there watching their little roof cut and all that?
Yeah, David's already talked to us about that. We're going to have
Okay,
to,
go ahead.
he's going to, just in relation to that, the posts are going to go in hand dug. The arborist is going to supervise, and they're going to be pruned, and very similar to what we did for Holmes House.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, Trey.
Well, Tim kind of addressed a lot of this, but the look we were trying to go for and felt like matched up with the house was more of a garden type feel, and we'd like to extend that landscape on out and up against the fountain. Right now, it's kind of bare dirt and mulch, and we think these improvements would really help the corner. So we do extend a little bit past the property line, and we pick up kind of where the wall ends. A lot of this plant material will be planted in fresh dirt on top of existing dirt. We're doing that to try to minimize any impact on the trees. So the areas that you see ground cover, those are areas where we'll probably have a minimal thickness. So we may have 4 to 6 inches of topsoil, and that way that will allow us to plant, the smaller ground cover flats in those areas. Tim mentioned the handicap ramp going away and going to more of an accessible, less than 5% ramp. We'd like to achieve that by starting with the existing dirt grade and then using boulders on either side. And I say boulders, larger landscape rocks, to hold up what we add. And we'll use that additional compacted dirt on top of the non-compacted, and then we'll do our pervious base on top of that. So.
What is your material for the surface?
It's pavers.
It is pavers.
It's
Okay.
pervious pavers, yeah.
The next slide has your details.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so we felt like pervious pavers would probably be the most adequate in matching the existing, and then with a little bit of difference, we'll do a variation in color, but the impact on the trees is minimized by setting base on top of existing soil and then adding the topsoil on either side of that. Going back to the landscape, we want to keep a lot of an evergreen palette, but we've also got quite a few pops of color. I would say more than you normally see in a commercial landscape or retail setting. That goes back to the garden-esque feel that we're going for. And then, screening some of the more undesirable portions of the building, like the backside on Roswell Street. We've concentrated on that. And then to add pops of color during the wintertime, we've included loropetalum and pittosporum, things like that.
Okay. Landscape questions for Trey?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I like the rosemary. I think that maybe scatter it more, but that's just a personal thing.
Scatter it.
All right. Before any motions are made, are there any public comments to be made about this application this afternoon? There are none, so, okay.
Are we doing site plan or on this, or?
I don't know.
Really, not really, okay.
Yeah. It's probably just landscape and extra elevations.
All right, Mr. Chair, regarding Alpharetta Town Commons, motion to approve the elevation of materials as submitted.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Swing, second by Mr. Brown for exterior elevations and materials. Any comments or questions about the motion on the floor? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in.
Yeah, I think we need a different motion. I think we need, you said as submitted, and what was presented was a little bit different.
So as presented versus as submitted. Okay.
So what?
Can we just make that as presented?
Yes. Why don't
That's what I intend. That's what I intend.
Why don't you
as presented?
Clarify your motion as presented?
As presented.
All right, Mr. Brown, do you accept the as presented
I gotta
language
think
rather
about
than?
it for a second. Okay, second.
All right, as presented, exterior elevations and materials as presented. Very good. All right, any other questions or comments about the motion on the floor? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 6-0. Okay. All right, we have landscaping.
Trey, I had one quick question, though.
Yes.
Yeah, Brad.
The muhly grass, black-eyed Susan, are you confident those will do well underneath that oak?
Well, yeah, when I was out there, it was around high noon, and it seemed like that area of the fray was the area that got the most sun. But everywhere else is definitely under a decent amount of shade. Yeah.
I will offer a motion, Alpharetta Town Commons landscaping that we approve as submitted today. End of motion.
Okay, have a motion by Mr. Corkle, a second by Ms. Rocco. I think you said as presented today, didn't you? Is that the correct language I heard?
As submitted.
As submitted, okay.
You can ask me what I said.
That's all right. Lauren's got us covered here. All right, as submitted. All right, any comments or questions about the motion?
Actually, I had one question, now I think about it. That wall is not part of this right now, though, right? The curvilinear brick seat wall?
It's existing.
It's on the city's property.
It is already there.
I think,
Okay. Never mind.
You don't get out much, Pat.
I really don't.
Okay,
I can't find it.
Cost too much to
There it is.
the three that go with me.
He looks at the landscaping, he doesn't look at.
Right.
All right. Any other comments or questions about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 6-0. Very good. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right, there being no further business and with no objections from the fellow Design Review Board members, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Good job.